This episode of the Giant Bombcast is brought to you in part by Lisa. Lisa offers 2 awesome mattresses, the All Foam and the Sapira Hybrid, plus accessories and bases for better, deeper rest. Lisa's also on a mission to provide a better night's sleep for everybody. They've donated more than 32,000 mattresses to date. Don't miss Lisa's President's Day sale. Get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at lisa.com/bombcast and use promo code BOMBCAST. That's LEESA.com/bombcast, promo code BOMBCAST.
Hey, it's the Giant Bombcast. It's Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. Hello.
Hello!
Hello. Hello, room.
Hello, Brad.
Okay.
Welcome.
If these walls could talk.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Tell me about it. Just
It's thank God it's not November.
yeah.
We just got aired out.
If it weren't for issues of propriety, I wish I could have just stolen the old Idle Thumbs theme song to play at the top of the show, the one that just repeats the lyric video games several dozen times in a row.
Yeah.
Because there's, I think, several dozen new video games out
Oh, yeah.
right
Oh,
now.
God, yeah.
There's a mess.
Last week.
It's the dumping ground. The
Well,
Q4
no.
dumping grounds,
No,
right?
because that would be the end of March. I actually talked to Business Dave
Uh-huh.
in Alaska about
That's
this.
right.
I was like, hey, do you know any reason that the 18 big releases would have come out the third week of February?
Right.
Because like it felt like the end of March. It felt like the end of the fiscal year
It
last
felt
week.
like oh shit, we have to crap these games out
Yeah.
as fast as we can, even though they're not ready.
Yeah.
But
For financials.
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of earnings calls were happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Around this time, so maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
But
Also,
I don't know. I'm not an analyst.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure Anthem will be fully out by the end of March.
Dude,
I think this Friday is the release.
is this how you want to?
Brad, there's 15 different charts I can refer you to.
I wasn't even.
cross-reference.
That wasn't even a lead in to talk
Okay.
about Anthem. It was just a reference to the fact that apparently we are at so it's still 3 days till release, according to them. Despite
you mean that game I finished?
Finished the game.
That game I finished that they're talking about their day one patch for?
I keep seeing references to like the patch on launch day.
Yeah, the patch on launch day for the game that they're the people who gave them the most money have been playing. Will have been playing for a full week.
Let me see how much that.
Or just $15.
Or
for
yeah,
the-
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
Origin
did the
Premier.
sign up thing, which
Yeah.
you know,
Well, but
that's-
that, to be fair, that is the premium tier of their subscription service.
Exactly.
you'd think they would want to treat those customers well and not say like, "Hey, congratulations on beta testing this game for the first."
They
week.
know that the people passionate enough to put that much money in are going to just dive
Yeah,
in.
maybe.
Listen, the real beta testers were the people that did the VIP demo.
Yeah,
And
they
didn't play?
they got to beta test the shit out of that fucking intro screen.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, looks pretty nice.
And features
No.
that didn't make it into the game, or no, that was the alpha.
That was there was like some screenshots of that alpha with
Yes.
like, "Hey, we put skills in, like,
Yeah.
we took the skill tree out."
$80 for the expensive edition.
Yeah.
That would have let you start playing last Friday. Before we get into any one game, Anthem, Crackdown 3,
Far Cry,
Far New Dawn, Metro Exodus,
Right.
Jump Force. Does Jump Force belong in that?
Yeah.
Jump Force
That's
is
a major
Yeah,
release.
that release.
Jump Force came out last week.
I'm more interested in
It
Jump
is
Force than in
the
some of those
most
games.
release.
Tetris 99.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's probably it.
That's all that matters.
there's probably more.
That's more than a game a day from last week.
Yeah. Not that doesn't count the 30
And
games
we
that came out on
played
Steam every day.
all of
That's
them,
right.
and
Here we
we're
go.
going to talk about every single one of those.
I think
in depth.
Except for
I think-
Metro. I feel like Metro is the one that I don't know if
Yeah,
anyone
you
here has
didn't
tried.
play
I
Metro.
wanted
Or-
to play it,
you
but I
guys
was pounding away on Anthem. Let's talk about Tetris first.
All right.
Let's get off on
Yeah,
The right
start
foot.
start with the best game that came out.
Tetris 99.
I haven't signed up. I have been meaning to, but all those other games came out. But I haven't signed up for their online service. So
I was
I
going
can
to
play
say,
it
it's
yet.
free, Brad, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's free
Yeah.
with an asterisk of having the Nintendo online service.
Yeah, as not a Smash Brothers player, I just haven't really had a reason to sign up yet.
Yeah, and you retired from Splatoon after
Yes,
the
of course,
incident.
of course. Although, as a big fan of cloud saves, should probably get in there.
Yeah, no, big cloud save fan. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, so Tetris 99, I've been playing a bit of it. I played, so if you're not familiar, they kind of announced it and released it during the Direct. And it's free if you have their online
always fun.
service, which is great, yeah. And it like, not Anthem, like Apex, it stealth released and was fully functional. Like, I'd hopped into a game, loaded in quick. I've never had a game crash or break or anything. It's really cool to see. It's the thing we joked about. It's a battle royale.
99
Well,
player
like for
version of
Tetris.
Tetris.
But like pretty well considered in terms of like rules, and I feel like there's a lot of ways to slapdash out a 100-player Tetris game, but the concepts here seem sound.
Totally. If you watch the quick look, it was kind of like right when we got our hands on it. I didn't really understand the systems at play, and the stuff they designed is actually kind of makes it feel a little battle royale, where you can play it safe. You can just play Tetris, sit there, clear lines and stuff, and that can probably get you to like the top 10.
I've been playing Tetris in my bathroom for years now. I should be pretty good at that.
Then you should
Perfect.
be pretty good at making solid top 10 finishes. But the real trick is in that game is something they don't really ever explain. It's kind of a bummer that there's no tutorial.
It's
really
very
in the
bare
game.
bones. It's very much check out this thing we put out for free, push start and play.
And
It's
if you
literally
wouldn't go like online or watch some streamers or watch Reddit, you wouldn't know that there's actual crazy depth to it in terms of how you need to level up and get badges.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
you're talking about the outside of the match thing?
No, I'm talking
the
about
character level.
I'm talking about the fact that
the little chevrons that appear at the top of your board.
Yeah, so in a match when you it's you can kind of you remain well in the middle and you see everyone else's boards. Like it's tiny little rectangles all around the screen. You can see all 99 other players and you can kind of see how they're doing, right? So you can see like who's close to the top, who's close to the bottom. You can target their boards, and if you target somebody and clear, let's say like you drop a Tetris and you clear 4 lines, you're going to produce 4 lines on somebody else's board, and if you're the finishing blow, you earn badge points. I forget what the
Okay, so you only get those for
technical-
kills.
You get those for kills, so
Okay.
you get a set amount of them plus whatever badges they had when they
Okay,
died.
so there's totally an incentive to knock people out.
Yes.
Interesting.
And what
Wow.
that does, what those badges do are so instead of a Tetris giving somebody 4 lines, it's going to give them 6 lines or 10 lines if you really power up. So if you get into that top 10 and you don't have any of those badges, all of a sudden people are going to be dropping 20 lines
just
on
stuff
you.
you can't manage anymore. You're like, okay, that's it. And they give you like a macro and micro control of who you're targeting, which I thought was kind of cool. Like you can flick the right stick around to just kind of generically say, hey, target the people that are targeting me. I want to aim for knockouts, so target the people that are close to knockouts.
I want to target people with high badges.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand what badges meant until I kind of did some.
Or you can use the left
digging.
stick if you just want to manually target someone, but it never shows you their name, so it's not like you're going to go like, I know that guy, fuck that guy.
You can also tap on their.
Oh,
wow.
okay. So
Yeah.
I have
That's
not
cool.
played it undocked. So,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That's cool.
Is there any way to not attack anybody at all and just kind of lay low and let other people fight it out?
I think initially
you
you're
have-
not targeting anyone. So I
Okay.
think if you don't ever choose a target, you might be fine.
But then you wouldn't be earning the badges. So
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So it's cool. I mean, it's games last a few minutes. It's really
Yeah, it seems
easy to
pretty
just
quick.
like pop into another round like a battle royale. I think they I think they did a really good job. So it turns out it was Akira Arika, sorry,
Yeah.
who developed it, which I'm not too familiar with their stuff, but
Street Fighter EX.
Yeah.
The
Fighting
Skullomania
EX
guys.
layer.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yep.
Well, they did a good
and
job
those
with this.
Tetris like Grandmaster Ace, like those like highfalutin, fancy, very hardcore Tetris games.
Yeah,
are
and this
them
has that.
as
This
well.
has single, double, triple T spins. This
Yeah.
has mini T spins. It has all those fixins, which I guess are the Tetris standard now. But it's a really nice complement to Tetris Effect, where Tetris Effect very singular, single player focused, experience based Tetris, and then this has kind of My only issue with that was there was no multiplayer mode. I like a competitive Tetris, and now I have this other standalone product that I can just pop in for a few rounds.
I think I wish that as the boards got cleared out, the other boards got bigger.
Yeah,
That it would kind of just give you like a cleaner view. It's like, okay, half of them are out, so everyone's going to get a little bit bigger on your screen, so you can kind of keep monitoring the action a little bit better,
or at least like when you're down to top 10 or something like that.
But that's that's minor in the grand scheme of things. I think that's the thing that made me feel good about paying for that online service, which I did not feel good about because I subscribed when Smash came out, played approximately 4 matches of that, and said, "Oh right, why did I do this?"
Yeah, and then the Nintendo
because
games
the Nintendo stuff.
Because finally you can play NES games.
Yeah,
Classically.
Yeah.
but on the go.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, the NES stuff was a novel thing that didn't really actually add a ton of value, but this is
Hey, they just added Mario 2.
This is incredibly cool.
And if this is the direction they go in,
Yeah.
of just like, hey, occasionally we're going to drop a thing that is like free for subscribers, that is a cool online idea.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. And I think with that in mind, it's fine that it's not super fleshed out, right? Because if it's something you're like, hey, you're kind of getting this with your subscription, you're paying the $20 and here's like kind of bare bones, but a really neat, almost prototype-y kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't
like
even...
this is like previously the online service was more or less Xbox Live Gold. It was just, hey, pay us so you can play online.
Right.
This kind of gets a foot in Netflix territory of like, hey, here's a Netflix original.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, here is a thing we made just for you, a subscriber.
I don't even think
cool.
it was necessarily I don't think they cooked this up really fast as a response to that Metroid 4 thing and people going like, there's no Switch games coming out this year.
No.
But it was a nice little like, oh, okay, the Switch is still a value console. The Switch is still...
It feels like a very Nintendo-like move to me.
Yeah.
Like just an idea that nobody's quite had before. You know what I mean? Like just this off-the-wall, like quirky thing.
Well, I mean, multiplayer Tetris has existed in a lot of forms.
No. I mean more just the idea that like, hey, we made a cool little free game,
Right.
and here it is for you.
Yeah.
If you subscribe.
And also Nintendo just out there is like, hey, we're going to make a Battle Royale, but it's not going to be anything fucking close to any other Battle Royale out there. It's just going to be this weird Tetris thing, because we're Nintendo and we can't do anything like anyone else.
Right. Yeah. It's a super cool thing.
It is.
When was the last time you guys played? Is it still like super quick to get into a match?
Oh, yeah. I played a couple games on Sunday. And
Cool.
Just breezed right in.
And they're filling up with a full 100 people, right?
Yeah.
As far as you can tell.
You can
the
see
time.
them load in chunks. It's actually a really cool loading screen.
Yeah, it's there's neat stuff in that game for
That's
sure.
great.
But the out of game like player level doesn't do anything, right?
Not that
you level up between matches, but yeah, it didn't look
I think it might try and loosely match, try and get a certain range of levels together, but
That might make sense. Yeah, just like some kind of skill ranking or something I think would go a long way, because
Yeah,
there are going to be people who are like just raw, savage, murdering Tetris motherfuckers, and I don't want to play with them.
I got a couple top threes initially, just by focusing really in on the Tetris and just playing some Tetris-ass Tetris. But as soon as I started to think about trying to get KOs and stuff, I'm having trouble cracking into the top 10. Except I did get a win because I just got an extremely quick row of kills. It's a really hard thing to do. You kind of have to adjust your mindset not to focus on Tetris per se, because when I play Tetris, I lock in 100% on the board and the next pieces, and to have to break that line of sight to look at other boards, it was stressful at first, but I think it's very cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's it reminds me of Tetranet.
Yeah.
Which, was except it doesn't have, again, it does, Tetris needs my Romeo and Michelle high school reunion theme.
Sure.
My background, my piece, art, all that stuff.
Tetranet's still playable? Is there anything preventing you
I
from...
think so. The Tetranet 2 came out at some point. Also, this is illegal Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably
It's
still
Tetris Underground.
because TetraNet, the original TetraNet was just peer to peer.
Yeah.
I think TetraNet 2
yeah.
was 8-player and tried to be a server thing, and maybe that's why it was more susceptible to getting shut down.
Yes, this says Tetranet 2 used a master server.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
God, that came out in 2000.
if you got a master server, they can come after you.
They know who to go
If you're just
after,
putting
yeah.
out a client, that they can say, stop letting people download the client, and you're like,
Stop
okay.
the
We did. Sorry, it's already out there.
Whoops.
Can't stop the internet. Yeah, that Tetris 99 is a cool ass thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we got a video on the site. It's yeah. I want to play more of that. That's I almost forgot that game happened because of all the other stuff that came out. But I did play a bunch of that on launch day. I was like, this is rad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for them.
But I spent a lot. But
it all worked out.
I instead played a lot of spent a lot of time playing Crackdown.
Oh, okay.
3?
Yeah.
Are we
Three.
are we going to delay the pressing business?
Yeah,
Okay.
Crackdown's pressing business to me. I
Yeah,
wanna hear,
like Crackdown is a game that got delayed for years and years, and that game got announced. Was it
2014?
2014?
Yeah. E3, I think.
And is just now coming out. At the time, there's a really funny news story on a GameSpot with like quotes from Ken Lobb talking about like, oh yeah, we're not calling it Crackdown 3 because it's more of a sequel to Crackdown 1. So whatever. Either way, we're just calling it Crackdown.
This is from like years ago.
Yeah,
right?
this is from a very long time ago. And here, the last week they released Crackdown 3. So here's the thing. I like Crackdown. I liked Crackdown. When it came out at a very opportune time.
Yeah.
It did things that other open world games maybe weren't doing a ton of at the time.
Focusing on the fun.
Yeah, focusing on the fun
Making you
and
feel powerful.
Yeah, big, powerful stuff. Like it didn't necessarily have a ton of variety, but it had enough. Crackdown 2, I think, sacrificed a lot of that variety to come out faster, and they put the zombie stuff in it that I think didn't really do them any favors. But it wasn't necessarily a bad game. It was just kind of disappointing because it didn't really build on Crackdown 1 effectively. Crackdown 3 feels more like they just kind of made Crackdown 2 again. It doesn't have zombies, but like it's a short kind of very repetitive game that I feel like it's incapable of making someone feel like they maybe felt the first time they played the original Crackdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
The open world games have come a very long way since then. This feels like it doesn't even really feel like a throwback to Crackdown 1. It feels like, hey, this kind of does some of the same stuff that Crackdown is known for, but not as well, to the point where I feel like I would have a better time going back and playing Crackdown 1 again, which runs in 4K on an Xbox One X and all that other stuff. Like they've done that. Like Crackdown 3 is short and yeah, just it's painfully repetitive in terms of just like the mission variety. It's just they took these monorail stations, like the different types of missions, and just kind of stamped them around the landscape, and they're more or less identical.
And those are like the main story missions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the missions you do to get to the boss fights, which most of the boss fights are
those?
They're overly straightforward,
Okay.
and unsatisfying in a way. One of the chemical boss fights, you don't even necessarily directly face off against the enemy itself. It's more like, go around and open these valves, which is kind of the thing you've been doing in the missions to get to that boss fight. And then he just dies from some explosion. And you're like, all right. There's one like mech fight that I thought was like, okay. It was also like the first or second one I did. The final confrontation is really underwhelming. And it's a 6-hour game.
That seems about right. Like, if for a game of that type, with that doesn't have a shit ton of variety.
Sure, yeah.
But
It's on one hand, I wouldn't want this game to be longer because the mission types, are very repetitive. There are not very many of them, and they're basically like two types per. There's like industrial and there's enforcement. There's basically like two types per. So there's two industrial missions based around chemical stuff. There's two based around the enforcement side of things and so on. So yeah, I wouldn't want this game to be any longer, but what I do want is this game to be better
Yeah.
and more in line with kind of, like I said, open world, Saints Row happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Games with powers happened. Open world games fell into and out of favor multiple times since Crackdown 2 came out.
Yeah.
Which was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And this game doesn't feel like it's learned anything from any of those games, but it doesn't feel like sharp enough to be like a fun throwback either.
Gotcha.
And so it kind of just they screw it up at both ends.
It sounds like it was less of, hey, we've got a great idea for Crackdown 3, and more of, hey, we should make hey, we're being told to make a Crackdown 3. What do we do with it?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's like some really interesting story behind the development of the game.
Looking at the Wikipedia page, it seems like there were more developers involved with this game than ended up being the case at the end.
Yeah,
like,
if you remember, like this was the game that they were promoting as like, hey, all the physics and destruction are going to take place in the cloud.
Right.
And that was like their big hook out of the
that
gate.
big black hole gun, right? That would like mess up the physics, and they showed that off, kind of like, whoa, physics.
Yeah, there's a singularity grenade that kind of does that. But only the people.
Like they had like
cloud physics.
David Jones' name was attached to this,
right?
Like kind of
APB's David Jones.
Yes. Or the original Grand Theft
Yes,
Auto,
okay,
as they would tell you.
Yeah.
But like his studio was attached to this, and like one other one, and then his studio got acquired by Epic at some point, and it seems like they stopped working on this game.
Yeah, but maybe the part was done, or maybe the part got scrapped, or whatever it was. I don't know.
There may have been more planned for this that just didn't come together.
So at some point they clarified, which if that's a clarification or a hard change, we don't know. But at some point they said, "Oh, that destructible stuff is only in the multiplayer."
Which has much smaller maps than
which is a totally separate executable that you launch from the Xbox Dash called Wrecking Zone, and it's 5v5 team. Like one mode is like a kill confirmed, like get the badges after you kill them to get the points. The other one is like a territory control mode. And these are set on much smaller maps that, the stuff does blow apart. Like if you punch through a wall and all that other stuff, like you can do it.
Is that cool?
No, well, not really.
Okay.
I mean,
it seems fine.
Like I'm sure on some technical level, it's difficult to keep all that rubble in sync across 10 clients.
Yeah.
But in terms of like actually making like a compelling team multiplayer mode, like it's not that big of a deal. Like the rubble just kind of gets in your way more than anything else. And so
I would prefer that stuff to be in like not a single player, but like a co-op kind of scenario.
Exactly.
Where we're just going through wrecking stuff.
Like you want you want Red Faction Guerrilla.
I'm sitting here like open world games of the last 12 years are just cycling through my mind right now. Like every aspect of this game has some analog somewhere, and it reminds me of like those old Incredible Hulk open world games. Ultimate Destruction. Like those games let you tear down the city as you ran around.
But it also, Crackdown is not a shooter, so it has lock-on targeting in the single player. You're locking onto enemies and shooting them. You're tapping the trigger to keep
and throwing cars.
Or throwing cars. Whatever you're doing, homing rockets, all that sort of stuff. But you're locking onto your targets, and so all of that stuff carries into the multiplayer. So shooting is not the skill thing, because you just lock onto an enemy and hold down the trigger. And then it becomes like, okay, well, when you lock onto someone, they see what direction you were coming from. So they know like, oh, maybe I can get behind a building. And then it's on you to be like, okay, I'm either going to pivot around the building or punch through it or just let off the lock and go shoot somebody else, which is actually the smarter thing. So it just becomes two enemies lock onto each other, both start shooting each other. Then someone else from the team, one team shows up, finishes the fight, and you move on. And it's just this. It's not fun.
Doesn't sound like
it's
it.
not. It's
it's not what I was expecting of the multiplayer.
The destruction doesn't actually really add much to it, and like I said, it kind of just gets in the way because when a building does come apart, and it comes apart with physics. It comes apart like all the fucking chunks turn into chunks, and you're like, oh, and then they despawn. Because if they stayed in the world, you would be wading neck deep through this rubble and not being able to shoot and do other things, which, maybe that would be interesting, but it would not be the same game. So it just doesn't amount to much. Like the idea of this like cloud physics destructibility thing that was like the first thing out of the gate they were talking about. It was the bullet point everyone remembered. So at some point you're like, oh, well, I guess they had to try to make good on that, but it doesn't add anything to the game.
It sounds like it makes the map's more barren and boring, to a degree, because you're just getting rid of the things that are in these already plain maps.
And it's a game that like I think there's a nugget there of like, man, if they had been able to add more variety to the single player and really flesh that out, like that would be a really fun co-op game. As it is, it's not a terrible, like if you were just ignored the story or lack thereof, and just jumped in with a friend that you talk to regularly all the time and just blasted through it and didn't pay for it because you were a Game Pass subscriber.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this a Game Pass?
It is. Yes. Then I could see it. But like on its own merits, like there's just not a lot there. It's like, it's kind of shocking how little there is to Crackdown 3. I guess I would say.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could go both ways. Brad brought it up, these types of games have progressed, and it's very easy to draw those comparisons, but I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's what they're going for. I think they are going for like a retro kind of throwback, but You're saying that they're not even nailing that part of it.
Not at all. Like that's
what's the most
if they were
surprising
trying to make like a throwback to the original Crackdown, I think the orbs would be laid out better. I think that they would have done more to that. Also, like making Crackdown 1 again. I don't think there's a lot of
it's not enough in 2019.
No, not at all. And
like you said,
that was such a killer loop though. Like that game
it was at the time.
And to distill it down,
right?
If done right, I think
there's
there's room for that.
But I think that's
that game
again. Crackdown 1 is available and was recently and maybe still is available for free.
That game was just so much more meaningful in 2007.
Right.
Than it is now, like all these other open world games have done superpowers, like we talked about, like the Nemesis, because they've got a hierarchy of crime bosses.
It's not enough to just say like, hey, we check all the bullet points for Crackdown 1.
Yeah.
They need to make a game that makes you feel the way you felt when you played Crackdown 1.
Yeah,
and
because that game did things
they
you hadn't seen before, and this does not.
Right.
But again, like in a world where like the Nemesis system exists, they could have done more with their hierarchy of bosses or whatever. Like there were so many directions they could have gone with this thing.
And I was totally expecting all of that. And wow.
I think, as the game got more and more delayed, I think my expectations got more and more in check. But I think even in terms of like, hey, I'm maybe not expecting a ton from this, like it didn't hit that bar either.
Jeez.
When I realized like, oh gosh, I'm done with this game. This is maybe an afternoon's worth of content here. What the hell? Like the idea that this game took that long to come out, and here it is. And I did damn near everything in that 6-ish, 7-ish hours. It wasn't like I left a bunch of stuff, like actual missions. Like I didn't do a lot of rooftop races. I didn't do a lot of the car races. But like in terms of like actual story relevant missions, I did everything, and that's not enough. If that's a $20 game, and that's I think the weird place we're at, where like Microsoft, and I think we said some similar stuff with Sea of Thieves, and I think Tetris is maybe in some of this conversation as well. But the idea of like, hey, if you are already, so I wouldn't recommend someone signs up for Game Pass to play this. But if someone was already a Game Pass subscriber
and happy with what they're getting,
then it's that thing of like, well, here's another thing for you to play. You might as well play it. It's not it's not bad. It's just short and boring, and like there's better ways to spend your time. But hey, you and a friend co-op, like whatever. You could do a lot worse, I guess. And so that's a weird one, because it's like, I don't know that I would recommend it, especially for the amount of money they're trying to charge for it if you want to buy a copy.
I think you said it. Time, you have to consider time as an expense just as much as money. For now, like with the way that services and stuff work like that now.
Definitely,
you gotta value your time.
Yeah, and it's a bummer. It's disappointing.
I still want to play it because, like you said, why not? If you already have Game Pass, just get
exactly.
it.
Like,
I downloaded it. I haven't started it up yet.
But that's not a great place for Microsoft to be, but it's better than like, hey, you might as well play it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I've gone from I will never play this game to I might play this game because I can play it for free.
Yeah, like it's all relative to what else they're putting out on that service, and if people feel like overall they're getting their money's worth.
Definitely.
Because like Netflix puts out originals every week that I couldn't care less about. But as long as they're putting out enough stuff that I do want to see, like that $10 a month is totally fine.
Right.
Yeah. So if that's where Microsoft is getting to, like that's probably perfectly adequate.
I don't want this to be a value add though. This
I mean, Crackdown. Like totally. Like I want a Crackdown sequel to be a big deal.
Yeah, totally.
And maybe that's like asking a bit much, but Crackdown 1 was surprising. You know, people bought it because they thought it was the Halo beta.
Yeah.
And then it turned out like, hey, wait a minute, Crackdown is actually really good.
Yeah.
And then they haven't matched that since.
Do you think they need to just completely change it up? Like, stop chasing that?
This is it.
Yeah,
they will not make another Crackdown game.
They can't.
This is it.
Now, if they made a sequel to Project Sunburst, the Windows Phone game that was like geolocation stuff, before this Pokemon Go shit.
What?
Yeah.
All right, you went there. You didn't have to, but you did.
That I might be into playing.
Yeah.
That's not true.
How's he used to Terry Crews in that? Is he quipping all the time?
He
or?
is in the introductory cutscene, where he's like the leader of all these agents that then get blown out of the sky.
Oh, he's so amped up too.
Yeah, and he's like over the top.
Good lord!
Yeah, and that's like, like tonally, you're like, okay, if this is the tone for this game, like let's go. All right, let's make it fucking over the top crazy. You know, it's not gonna be Saints Row, but hey, what are you gonna do? And then when you can pick him as a playable character.
Sure.
Jackson is his name.
With an X.
With an X.
Oh.
And the agents do quip in game, but for some reason it's mixed really low.
Damn it.
So like you occasionally hear like, oh, is that Terry Crews saying something in the background that's somehow quieter than a pedestrian? Like I thought like, oh, is this like is my center channel too low? Like
Right.
you know, I played it on PC, which is, you know, more conventional speakers than my home theater. Like I played it on headphones, like multiple places, and it just seems like the agent quips are mixed super low.
They're all just really self-conscious about their jokes.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just kinda
they're not
throw 'em
too
out there like
into the
this.
material. And so it just becomes like that kind of Crackdown voice of the agency guy,
Okay.
and then a rebel leader that's in the city, and it's
God, like, that's
it's
another-
her and this guy just talking.
That's another.
No, they ignore all of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's another aspect. I mean, we talk about it in the quick look, but there's another aspect of this thing where they could have taken that in a cool direction.
Yeah. So like the end of Crackdown 1,
Right.
the agency is revealed to be evil as fuck.
Yeah.
In this game, it's an evil corporation that has blacked out the world, and you are an agent being sent there. You don't talk to the agency for like the first few hours of the game, and then eventually you reestablish contact, and then he's there going, "Oh yeah, skills for," you know, all the same shit. But like trying to be self-aware about it in a way that doesn't work. And
but the villainy is
but
never addressed.
The villainy, no. Instead, it's like, here's this director of the agency, this bad man from Crackdown 1, teaming up with rebel leader lady who is like very much like woke, like, yeah, the people. We've got to take down these corporations. And then the voice of the agency is like, we've got to take down these corporations. And you're like, what the
What the fuck? Like you are yourself a corrupt, evil institution. Like what?
Right. So instead, it's
Which
this,
is never like.
it's this weird attempt. Like at some point, is it like, no, man, the cops are on your side? Like, what is the message this game is trying to
Yeah.
send?
Like the agency should have been the bad guys in this game. Like that should have been
yeah.
the logical follow up from Crackdown 1.
Yes, and I thought that's where it was heading, because you team up with a rebel lady, and I was like, oh, the agency's going to come back in, but they're going to somehow be behind. And I'm like, no, it's never addressed.
Yeah.
The events of Crackdown 1 are never addressed. And, you know, granted, that was a billion years ago, so, you know, if for a game that they were at one point going to just call Crackdown, maybe they felt they didn't need to, like, no one cared about the lore of Crackdown. And they just said, fuck it, we checked every box.
But
he says skills for kills, what more do you want from me?
But 99% of our interest in this game is out of reverence for Crackdown 1. You know, like people who are coming to this game are doing it because they love the first game.
And this doesn't feel like it. This does not feel like it honors the memory of Crackdown 1.
Yeah.
I guess I would say. Or if it does, then it makes me feel like the people that made this game really didn't like Crackdown 1 or felt that it was like the most bland and generic thing on the world.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, nailed it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like Crackdown deserved better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't imagine that they make another Crackdown, like with how long this game's development took.
Seriously.
And what came out on the other end of it. Like, I just can't imagine that they stick with this. This feels like something that they were like, well, we killed everything else, so one of these games has to
one
ship,
of those
I guess.
2014 games has to make it to release.
I guess we got to. I mean,
Scalebound didn't. Phantom Dust didn't.
right?
Something that we announced from that E3 has to.
How bad must those games have been if this was the one that made it through?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I don't know. Scalebound, jury's still out, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see. You play any more of that new Far Cry?
No.
Since the
No.
We have a long quick look up.
Yeah.
Pretty comprehensive view of what that thing is.
I heard that game was 8 hours long.
Whoa, like the story?
Yeah.
Huh.
I heard that was not a full length Far Cry game.
Well, it's 40
Is it a
bucks.
full price? Okay.
It's 40 bucks.
Yeah, which makes sense given what I know about like the upgrade structure and how long it took me to get from like level 1 to level 2 of these 3 level upgrades.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Like to me, there is actually merit in a lower priced, more condensed Far Cry experience, but maybe not in a world where the last big Far Cry just came out like 8 or 10 months ago.
Right. And also not one that follows in the footsteps of Far Cry 5's like perks and systems and stuff like that.
And
like I think the changes they made from 4 to 5, I think were largely negative on the systems front.
And this is set on the same map.
Yeah.
Like the first mission you did was on that airfield that I remember rescuing that pilot on in 5.
It's not the first mission of the game, but
but the first one I saw
in the quick look. Yeah.
I was interested in this game because pre-release they had kind of been pitching like, oh, it's got base building now and it's maybe a little more RPG-ish.
Yeah. No.
But all of that just seems like window dressing on the same upgrade systems laid out in a different way.
You earn a currency, you earn ethanol, and then you use that to buy upgrades.
Yeah.
And
But, like-
it's very much like this station was level 1, now it's level 2,
Yeah.
and now that it's level 2, you get 150% of health
Right.
instead of 100.
Right, all the base upgrades are actually just character upgrades.
Yeah.
But your base looks a little different when you get them.
Do you get the impression that if you were like wild for the changes from 4 to 5 and you really enjoyed 5, that this would be a value proposition and like more of a good thing, or do you think it's like too much of a good thing?
I didn't wring everything out of Far Cry 5 that there was to do, and I didn't want to.
Right, but I'm saying,
if you did,
dug Far Cry 5, is
it's-
this like
it's
just
more-
it's the same game?
it is
but-
more of Far Cry 5 with some weirder weapons, like a saw blade gun that like they have tuned to like every ricochet works in your favor. Like it can go through multiple enemies, and they have tuned it so it does.
That sounds fun.
So you don't have to line up the shot. It bounces from one enemy to the next and kills them both. It bounces off metal walls, and
That's cool.
so it's like a ridiculous magic saw blade gun, which that's a fun little stealth weapon.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's definitely a lot more lighthearted than 5.
Talk to me
Like, it's
about
all-
animal
it's all-
buddies.
There are 2.
No
Okay.
no sign of Cheeseburger the bear.
No cheeseburger, but
not that we saw.
Not as a playable like.
Yeah.
Like I bet there's a story thing.
I want to say it's like what is it?
maybe not. I don't know.
Was it like Horatio the boar? Maybe
There's a boar and a
a
dog
wolf? I think a wolf.
Dog wolf.
all right.
Dog Wolf.
Dog
Yeah.
wolf. Dolph.
Also, like it's all irreverent, post-apocalyptic. Like there's a lot of pink and yellow everywhere, which
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
might be this year's blue and orange.
But also still grim. Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like weird
Yes.
like Rage. It's not like that type of goofy.
yeah, it's not quite Andrew WK.
Yeah.
Uh,
But hey, what is?
Yeah.
And so yeah, but like I think Far Cry 5 was probably best played as a co-op game where you talked over every cutscene and didn't pay any attention to the fucking awful story. So with that in mind, like yeah, you could do that here too. It still has outposts to take. Like that's still a fun thing to do.
I appreciate
it
that
feels
they-
like they lean a little heavier on the potential for like, hey, give us some real money for these weapons, or hey, just straight up buy perk points, which I think they did in the previous game, but this one seems to maybe put it a little closer to the front. I'd have to check, but yeah.
I appreciate they came up with an in-world explanation for why you would want to do the same outposts over and over, which is basically just that the enemy is taking them back.
Yeah. And then you can take them back for more upgrade currency, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, that thing is just kind of more Far Cry in a way that I was hoping it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I was hoping there would be a little more of a unique spin on the formula in this than it turned out to be. Like we talked about in the quick look, but like I don't know what the next Far Cry game is.
I would, yeah.
I hope it is a much more profound like rethink of what that franchise is. Than,
Needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've worn out modern Far Cry.
Yeah.
Like they probably need to take a step back and figure it out.
Yeah.
And give people Far Cry 2 2. No, I didn't. Some people, I'm not.
Let the fire spread.
Yeah, let the
fire
There you
spread
go.
without stopping.
Yeah.
Instead of making it like a self-contained little.
Yeah, it actually
Piece of window
because
dressing.
they have characters whenever a fire breaks out, like characters freak out and they go, "There's a fire! It's spreading!"
Right.
And all I can do is help but think like it's
wanna
not going
watch
to
it.
it's not going to spread.
Fire can't spread more than 20 feet.
It's
in
not
this
going to
game.
spread the
Don't
way
worry.
it should. So
Don't worry.
like, it's this constant reminder.
Look, we're
of,
from California. We know how it should spread.
Yeah. Well, fuck, man. Yeah. They'll map wind patterns.
Yeah. Did you play any Metro? Did anybody play any Metro?
Not yet.
I have not touched enough Metro.
Okay.
so-
I know they did a quick look out east.
Yeah.
I wanted to try it, but a lot of other games out.
Yeah, I will get to it. I played a bit of it back at E3, and it feels, it's pretty different from the old Metro games.
Yeah, but it's still like
those were
capturing
very-
that feel, that kind of
Seems like it.
aesthetic, and
Yeah.
some of the weapons stuff.
I like Kotaku ran a story saying, "Hey, it's cool to play Metro in Russian." So like it's still that.
Yeah.
Like if if you're looking for that Eastern European feel,
Yeah.
like people still are
Always.
coming at it from that
Need a
direction.
good Eastern European tug.
I saw a Digital Foundry put up a video with like really exhaustive look at how the ray tracing works in that game. If you want to see some like really interesting edge cases of what ray tracing actually does
Okay.
in a real shipping video game, that's not just like Battlefield like reflections of explosions and puddles,
Right.
Like, but actual like here's how the lighting really works on a fundamental level. Like that stuff's interesting. Like that game seems like it's doing a lot with the RTX stuff that nobody owns.
Well,
Neat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's buy video cards,
Right.
then, to play Metro.
Yep, and Quake 2.
And, yeah, and
Okay.
Quake 2.
I got one coming.
And render
Really?
and render videos
For us, anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe we should get in there and mess with that stuff then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play
In
some
Quake
Quake
2.
2. I want to play some Quake 2.
Absolutely.
Maybe NVIDIA should send us some damn cards so we can cover that stuff.
Yeah. We should take a break
Okay.
before we move on.
All right.
Before we move on,
Oh.
All right.
let's refresh ourselves and then come back and talk about more.
Anyone can get on the internet now.
Anybody?
Anybody.
They're just letting anybody in here now.
They'll let anybody through the door.
Yeah, and onto the highway.
Exactly. And so it can look a little crowded.
Yeah.
Why not stand apart? Why not do something nice? Why not make something nice on the internet?
Nice? I don't know if nice is really my brand.
All right, well, make something good at least.
Okay. Good and dirty.
Yeah, good and filthy if that's how you like it. Squarespace lets you build your own website using their world-class templates that look beautiful, but you can grunge them up if you want.
Get a little bit of grime on there.
Yeah.
Some e-grime.
Yeah, get that electronic grime all up on there. Get your e-grime and then commit some e-crimes.
Oh, no.
No, you will not be committing e-crimes if you are out there on Squarespace.
Are they going to help you avoid e-jail?
You know, that's not on the list here.
Okay.
That's I think that's on you to look out for yourself.
Okay.
Squarespace is not your mom.
I see.
But
They just give you the tools.
Yeah, no, exactly.
What you do with them,
That's right.
up to you.
It's up to you.
Behave yourself.
To use these tools, you could showcase your work, you could publish content, sell products, even more. Whatever your passion project is, you can get it ready to launch and turn your dreams into a reality.
What's my passion project?
What is your passion project?
Yeah.
You know, it's President's Day.
Ooh.
Maybe you got some stuff to say about the president.
Maybe.
You know, you could have here's some coins with presidents on them that I collected over the years.
Okay.
That maybe you would want to buy. Sell some coins.
Okay.
That's what is that? That's a philatelist, philanthropist,
philologist.
philologist.
Falafels?
Falafels. Falafelology.
I'm very passionate about falafels.
Great. All right.
turns out.
We're going to get your falafel website online.
Man,
And
I
we'll-
would visit that website.
Well, there you go. It'll all be optimized for mobile. You can visit it from your phone.
Okay.
Nothing that you need to patch or upgrade ever. They'll even help you buy a domain. If you need your falafel-like domain, they make it easy.
Falafel dot what? What's good?
.what is not available.
Oh, I know. It should be, actually.
Yeah, it should be.
But I mean, what's a good top level domain for falafel dot?
Falafel dot. I mean, are you selling them? You go with like a .biz or like a
I
.com.
don't like think about buying them probably. You know,
Okay.
just respecting them.
All right, are you like a non-profit? Are you like an organization, like an order? Like
I just want to venerate the form of the falafel.
Yeah, so maybe you're like an organization devoted to the pedestalification of the falafel.
I mean,
maybe .org.
I
Maybe
feel like
.org.
falafel.zone is pretty obvious, but that's just most of those are taken by now.
Oh yeah,
Any single-
there are a lot of zones out there that you could still acquire.
Any single noun dot whatever is hard to come by these days.
It can be. But there's a lot of there are a lot of domains out there.
Falafel.bike.
Okay, yeah. Okay, what if you had a mobile business devoted to falafels and bikes?
Man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna ride the falafel bike.
Yeah, if you
Straight to you.
bring this falafel bike to me and bring me the falafels, I went to your website and saw a picture of the bike and it looked nice.
Now I just got to learn how to cook.
Yeah, well, that's a separate thing. Squarespace, they'll help you build the website though,
All right.
and they empower millions of people. No, even restaurants,
Ooh.
even bikes. Probably,
Ooh.
I bet there's a bike with a Squarespace website.
Sure.
It's got to be out there.
I would believe that.
Lawyers, all sorts of people are using these templates from these world-class designers. They're customizing it. They're making their own stuff all over the place. It's never been easier.
Ever?
Ever. Take that, Hot Dog Pro.
Yeah.
Head to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST and you'll save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/bombcast. And that offer code, it's BOMBCAST.
Anthem also came out.
Oh yeah.
Did it?
I guess.
But did it?
I mean, yeah, as discussed earlier.
Can I play it yet?
You can.
Okay.
There's a lot of buts.
But launch
Okay.
day is Friday.
Yeah.
For
This
people
Friday.
that didn't
That's what the
jump through additional hoops and
Yeah,
pay extra or
But all-
subscribe to a thing.
I jumped through a couple of hoops.
Yeah.
also just the language they're using is
The
all around Friday the 22nd being launch day.
I mean, look, whatever. Let's get into it. I find them talking about We've got a patch planned for launch day.
A day one patch.
A day one patch
Yeah.
being and them talking about the 22nd.
Yep.
As someone who was playing that game as they were out there talking about that stuff, I find that actually like kind of offensive.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like to the people that are paying extra to play their game. Like your game came out on the 15th.
Yeah.
Like do not talk about this like some launch day patch. Like the game is out.
Yeah.
And to treat people that paid more than the average price as basically like beta testers, pre-day one patch players, I think is super fucked.
We're all in this together.
I
Jeff.
think it's a really shitty thing to do.
And that's really just a matter of how they're messaging it.
Yeah.
Because of course there are going to be patches.
Totally.
post-release.
Yeah, but
of course bugs need to get
specifically
fixed.
the idea
But the way they're
of
talking
just
about
like,
it.
oh well, you know, our day one patch is coming up. Like, no, nope.
Yo, day one was last week.
Yeah, that's really screwed up.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a really screwed up, and you know, whatever, games change and things, you know, the industry and the way games are sold is always changing, and you know, so this is kind of new for everybody in some sense.
This week long window
This is a huge lead time.
is
Yeah.
the longest that I can remember.
Usually it's like, hey, play Tuesday, it comes out Friday.
At
Or
most,
play
yeah.
Friday, it comes out Tuesday.
Yeah, yes. Like the most I've seen is 3-4 days, so a full week
Yeah.
is pretty wild.
And it's starting to bleed out to games that you wouldn't expect. Like, didn't Jump Force, or was it?
Yeah,
God?
Jump Force is
Yeah,
starting
Jump
to do
Force
that. As,
Ultimate.
as
Yeah.
well.
Like,
edition.
you know,
Yeah.
at first it was like big, high-profile
Right.
EA games,
And that was Jump Force. That shit fire. No, well, yeah. What are you saying about Jump Force, man?
You know exactly what I'm saying about Jump Force.
I know what you're saying about Jump Force.
Yeah, I think almost everybody is doing it at this point.
Yes, and it's a weird practice, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that having people representing the game out there talking about the game like it's not out yet.
Yeah.
As I was finishing the game yesterday, it's fucked. It's fucked.
It's really strange.
Jeff, why do you think people are out there trying to talk about the game so much for like that day one patch?
It has issues, but well, whatever. Like
You finish it.
I did.
Me, Jason, and I are both pretty deep into it.
Yeah.
You're both in the middle of this Tombs challenge thing.
Yep.
I'm at
Well,
the very
wait at this
ass
point
end of
because
it,
they
yeah.
said they were going to fix it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if there's.
But I don't know what fix it. Like they were vague enough about what that meant. that I'm
well,
not
so I guess
sure
there's
how
a
it's
I
gonna
What
guess
is there
there's
to
a
fix with
there
that?
is
I'm
a
not sure.
there is a bug. So progress that you have done on for people who don't know, about let's say like 2/3 ish of the way through the Anthem campaign, there is a point where all story progress stops because you need to open these 4 tombs. And each door is locked by a different set of like gameplay challenges. And that's like, it's just straight up achievement type stuff. Like get 50 kills with your ult, get 30, you know,
Participate in 5 world events.
yeah,
50
find 20 treasure chests.
50 melee kills,
resurrect
revive
3
3
players.
people.
This is all stuff that I think is supposed to have been checked off from your entire time with the
So
game.
I tried to find where BioWare had 100% for sure said that's the case, and
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Okay.
It sounds like that may be like misinformation or misperceptions that are being passed around.
I want to say the thing they said is that there are 2 issues.
Yeah.
One, that progress isn't being accurately tracked, and that it's supposed to
Let me
be.
see if I
And
can
that
find their
2,
tweets.
they maybe plan to address some of the requirements.
I think that for sure is happening.
And so when I found it, I had some of that stuff checked off, but it's seemingly not as much as I feel like I should have.
Yeah.
So it became this like multiple hour roadblock
Yeah.
right around the 10-hour mark for a game that has a 10-hour free trial.
Yeah, that's dark, man. I don't even know if I can follow you there.
Yeah, that's
it's
getting into conspiracy
It's
territory.
not, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
But
we don't know for sure. But holy shit!
I will say if that roadblock was not in the game and you critical path it, you could finish this game on a 10-hour trial.
You could easily finish it. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like I got to that challenge and assumed like, it. Like when you get to that point, I feel like the story and the campaign have just gotten started. And then I talked to you about it, and you were like, "Yeah, there are like 3 more quest steps after you finish that stuff, and then it's over."
3 critical
Yeah.
things. Like you know, it fleshes out a little bit more from there. It's not just like mission done, but it's
There's
not
a ton of
that
side
far
stuff
off from
going
that.
on with like the freelancers and the.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the side.
Yeah, I have
agent
too.
missions
So I ended
along
up,
the way.
it ended up taking me about 20 hours to see credits on it, and that's because I was talking to as many people in the Fort as I could and doing most of the side stuff. I probably still have 6 or 7 like contract level missions of like barely any story stuff that I could get out there and do.
The one thing I'll say about the tomb challenges, and this is not in any way to defend that they are there, but as soon as I started hearing from you and other people that stuff existed, I ceased doing any side stuff whatsoever and just like mainline to that point
Yeah.
so that I would have all those side missions to go do after those challenges started tracking.
Right.
So
I found this is a free play
because otherwise,
stuff to be really valuable and ticking a lot of those boxes.
But if you had already done all the side missions by the time you got to that point,
Yeah.
free play would be your only option to go do all those challenges.
I'm just saying it's a very valid option.
So luckily, I just started doing side missions and ticked off probably a third of them after a few missions.
Mm-hmm.
So roadblocks and issues aside, like, what do you guys think about the game?
Just let me finish about this. The other thing I'll say is that there's like, they present these 4 tombs as being a big deal thing you need to do to clear the path to the end game. There's no gameplay inside the tombs.
Nothing. Yeah, it's
literally just like
superficial.
Just like walk in there and
You walk in
activate
there
a thing.
and do a thing and walk out.
And it's the dumbest video gamey thing. It's like they talk it up. These legendary trials, and it's like, I got to revive a guy 3 times.
Yeah, it's not. It's horseshit.
Yeah,
it's fucking horseshit.
They're pretty dumb. Yeah.
So I think Anthem looks really good. I like the art design of the
Very
suits, and I think the world itself looks nice.
Yeah, graphically, I think the world looks nice. I haven't explored the entire map yet, but the thing it's lacking is like identifiable landmarks or variations in any terrain or like
they have like lookout points that you can actually find in the world.
Okay, that might help.
And it'll tick that off. Like, and they're I think they're very identifiable.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time roaming. I've just been doing story and side
I will
missions
say,
for the
like,
most part.
trying to get from one place to another, and there's specifically one tomb that is like a little difficult to get to. If you don't know that you need to go under the town,
the closest one to the town.
You spend a lot of time flying around. Like even just like so, I was trying free play last night a little bit more, and was like, I'm gonna fly to where these other players are and see what the fuck they're doing, because you see them, you see their pips, like the direction they're in, but how to get there is not clear, because it is like a very windy path with a lot of like, you can't fly too high, so it's a lot of canyons and stuff like that. That like.
This game could really do with like some sort of waypoint. Pathing,
totally.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting at, is the world. Like, honestly, the entire world looks like Avatar. Like, it just looks like a mystical tropical jungle
overgrown
type thing.
Jungle thing, yeah.
Like, it's just missing the floating rocks. And
that maps the entire game.
But yeah, what I mean is it doesn't seem like a space that would be easy to learn your way around.
Right.
Like, you're just going to kind of follow your objective markers. Totally. At least that's all I've been doing.
When they finally show up.
If they do.
If they show up. But yeah, so I guess like, the larger thing is like, this is, kind of I feel like it's kind of billed as a loot shooter type thing. And that's how people have been thinking of it. I feel like given the presentations and the way they've been framing the game pre-release, I feel like that's been the genre or the subgenre that kind of gets attached to it.
Yeah, it was very easy after that first trailer to be like, that they're doing a Destiny.
Yeah. And I think in the context, like, if you're looking at this game and like you're looking at it as like, okay, it does the things a loot shooter does, and then you get into it, it doesn't take long to realize like, no, it doesn't. Like, the first word in that is loot. Yeah. And all of the stuff you pick up is
lacking in personality.
Yeah,
I think.
that's
totally like diversity. Like you kind of see all the weapons up front. And
I
then,
heard
and then
a very
the
low
numbers go up on
number
them.
of guns available. Like, total number of unique guns is relatively low.
And it'd be like, okay, there's like 3 LMGs, there's 3 assault rifles, so you get like the balanced one, the high rate of fire one, and the slow rate of fire one that does more damage. And like, hey, here's a marksman rifle that's a 3-shot instead of 1. But like, the guns are all very underwhelming.
I don't know.
And
shotgun's pretty good.
Like, but like, I'm
flamethrower
one-shotting most enemies, like just pistol headshots and stuff like that. And there's just not a lot there. So then it becomes like, okay, well, then it becomes like fucking, internet commenter. Well, you're playing it wrong. You're supposed to use the abilities. Like, okay, all right. The abilities are you just tapping 2 buttons as the cooldowns expire, and you can equip different things on there. There are different, but at the end of the day, they're not that different from the guns.
Right.
In that it's like, well, this one does fire, this one does acid. Like, there are elemental effects that can combo.
Yeah.
Like Mass Effect.
And that's where I want to be the internet guy and saying, you should be doing that stuff, because I get the most amount of stuff.
The game makes no effort to explain any of those systems at all.
It's not a difficult system to understand.
Well, no, but I think there are nuances to it that it doesn't describe, because there are different types of combos. There's like chain combos and impact combos, and it doesn't really like delineate what all those things mean.
But the thing is, I think like yes, you should use the abilities, but I also don't think they're especially fun to use. because it's like, okay, this one you have to hold it down to charge it up. This one homes in, this one doesn't. This one does this element. But like again, those don't look particularly flashy. You're not unlocking like good or flashier or ultimate versions of these later on. So it's like
they do. Yeah,
this
visually
fireball is the fireball for the entire game. And that's really underwhelming. And so, yeah, like I'm popping off combos all the time. I'm getting bonus XP for fucking all these combos I'm doing. Like I'm comboing the shit out of shit. But at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, I equipped 2 things that combo. I go pop, pop. And then then I shoot enemies until the cooldowns are done and then hit pop, pop again.
I mean, you're describing it as way more than just like focusing in on something and just holding down a trigger, which is what most like loot shooters are going to have you do.
I mean, there are a lot of enemies with hard shields that are sponges, though, too. Like, there's a lot of that, too.
Yeah, sure.
And everything just kind of stands there on normal and hard. Like, the enemy resistance is really underwhelming.
I'm
not going to speak to the AI.
There are issues around AI and weapon feedback and just general kind of feel of combat that just make it feel unsatisfying.
So it's pretty much a 4-player game. When you're in free play and people are scattered, it's 4 players in the world. When you're in mission, it matches you up automatically with 3 other players. But something about the way the server tech feels, it feels like they made a 4-player game using like 2005 era MMO technology. Like because everything has a latency associated with it where like enemies take too long to add, and maybe some of this is stuff that will be cleaned up. You know, maybe this is just like a server problem or something. Yeah. But like
it's a streaming issue. Like, you know, your hard drive streaming, they've addressed it as such that, you know, enemies will, you know, disappear or it's not that they like take a while to appear.
Right. Well, it's not that. They appear, I'm putting damage into them, and then they are activating and dying.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like enemies that are like aloof, basically. Like they take forever to target you and do anything. And then when they do, and then sometimes you'll have some stuff on the other side of it where like I got dropped from games. I had the game stop and, you know, warp me back 10 seconds, but with a bunch of new damage on me. And oh, wait, I'm down because apparently during this lag spike, I got murdered somewhere. And that's obviously stuff that, you know, is like bugs or whatever, but like the feel of it, you'll have like lines of dialogue.
That's not a good time.
No,
I agree.
You'll have like lines of dialogue that'll take 10 seconds between lines because like, oh, this line is the one that puts the pip on your map.
I've run into that.
And it's doing something on some server side somewhere before it generates that. And I had a mission end or I had a mission not end. It's like, okay, you did all the stuff. Now fly here, fly back to the Strider, which the in-world reason for why do people, okay, not to just fucking sidebar, why do a crew of fucking people flying fucking jetpacks need a fucking bootleg AT-AT to get around?
Because not everybody has the Javelin.
Well, they don't want to go into the waterfalls.
Yeah, I get it when there's like refugees and stuff like that. Like there's the reasons for those things to exist. But the idea that like, oh, we're the flying people, like, oh, you got it. There's one mission where like, you got to come get us. Yeah. It's not cargo, it's you. It's like, you got to come rescue us in the big Strider.
Oh, really?
And you're like, what? Just fucking fly over there. It takes 5 minutes to get back to town. What the fuck are we doing? All right. So the end of this mission was fly back.
But in that 5 minutes, you'll have to touch down 5 or 6 times to cool off before you can keep flying.
If you're on the right path and there are enough waterfalls, you can fly.
Yeah.
It's not what you want.
I think it's an unnecessary roadblock restriction.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not fun. I will say the flying is the best thing in that game. Yeah. Like it is the most unique and best implemented system in the game, but they do hamstring it by not letting you do as much of it as you want.
It's a bummer.
And that's frustrating. So anyway, the end of this mission was to get to the top of this Strider. I get there, the rest of the team gets there, nothing happens. It took 7. Oh God, I got up and left at one point and came back and it was still, and someone quit, someone else joined. It sat there for a while longer. Yeah. And then like after what was probably 7-8 minutes, it just said, "All right, your team's here, great." And then the mission ended.
Yeah, I have several instances like that.
It's fucking crazy. And that's the stuff that's like fixable and whatever. Like I don't want to necessarily even hold those types of technical issues against the game that much because I think my issues with the game are fundamental and
design choices.
Okay. Like I think the game they made is bad. I think the choices they made around weapons and loot for a loot shooter, like item rarity is tied to your level. So
I don't see what's wrong with that.
Well, I want to get a low-level rare item. I want a percentage drop. They're like, oh, this is
sure.
a crazy
It,
thing.
it makes it feel
Okay,
like there's no
crazy drop,
randomness
yeah.
to the drops. It's just oh, I hit the arbitrary cutoff where now my item is going to be green instead of gray.
Yeah, and now I'm getting all greens, and then you start seeing more rares.
When I start seeing those pops, that's when I get those moments, I guess.
But then it eventually transitions over to now they're all rares, just like they were all greens. Like
if
now I'm at the tier where it's like now it's all rares, and now I'm seeing some epics.
Right.
But the other thing is that these are all the exact same guns and skills and items, and so every time you tier up, there's one more bonus on them, and I have not found a meaningful bonus yet. I played that game for 20 hours, and it's like, okay, here's a sniper rifle that gives you 2% ammo on assault rifles.
Right, yeah. Ridiculous.
And you can equip 2 weapons, so that's not a useless thing, but it just feels random in a bad way. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is here's a piece you can equip that will give you 2% to your ice damage or 10% to revive speeds, and none of that changed the game at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Like so the item rarity is meaningless. They give you I don't know if it's the expensive version of the game or if it's for pre-orders or whatever, but like the version of the game that EA sent us gave me 2 legendary items that were power 18 that you could equip right out of the gate at level 1. And they had unique names. It was like Fist of the Mountain and a marksman rifle that were both legendary. But like the Fist of the Mountain was like it was a standard charge up attack, but then it had a thing on it that said like 25% chance of force explosion when hits. And I'm like, okay. Never saw another item like that in my entire time with the game.
Oh,
Well, so that is what is the rarity tier?
was legendary.
So I wonder if the in-game legendaries have stuff
Maybe.
like that on them.
yeah. I wonder.
But like, I'm not going to get to level
But the
30 or whatever.
marksman rifle they gave you didn't have anything like that either, I don't think.
No, it had like 4 bonus stats on it. Or, it has when the magazine empties, your shield recharges.
Oh, you're right.
Where did you get the legendary ability, not the marksman rifle?
They both just, I don't know. They came
I
out of the
only got the
rewards
rifle
or
one,
Yeah,
not the-
same.
Weird.
So in terms of progression in this game, that's something I'm curious about. So other than like leveling up and getting rare items, is there a skill tree? What are your customization
No, that game
options?
had a skill tree at one point, and they took it out.
Oh, like in the
There are like screenshots going around of like
What?
what the skill tree was.
Wait, they took
like
out the skill tree?
But like most of the stuff on the skill tree was like just 2% bonus to this. Like they didn't seem meaningful.
Yeah,
So what
but,
they do
like-
have is a system called components, and so just like you can slot in your abilities. You eventually get like 6 slots of components that unlock every time. You know, as you level up, you unlock additional slots, and these are going to be perks like, hey, 50% more combo damage or 30% more melee damage.
They're pretty significant perks.
They are.
To be fair,
but and that's the stuff where it's like, okay, now I'm like fucking one shot meleeing everything, even on hard difficulty. And like, all right, and so, but some of those are real bad, like 5% more damage with this specific type of weapon. Like, some of those components are just terrible.
I found a handful that I like, and it's kind of a shame that you can't stack the like named ones because there's they can't.
And so
they won't let you do that.
But the
for
other
whatever
thing is,
reason.
all of those things are identical in the bonus they give you. It is always going to be a 50% to your combo bonus, even if it's leveled, whether it's level 1 or level 20. The difference becomes every item gives you an armor and shield bonus.
Yep.
And so that just goes up as the level of the item goes up. So even those,
I'm like hunting through text whenever I get something new just to make sure that it's actually giving me, the right kind of bonuses. And
and it's just
they're
so
not-
just like
they're not
none of
fun.
the loot, none of the items you're acquiring feel like it's changing the game in a meaningful way, because you find all that stuff at level 1 and level 2, and so it's just the same throughout. As you go, you pick one of the 4 suits at the start, and then you unlock one at level 3, one at level 8, and one at level 26.
I like how differently these classes play.
I didn't find them to be that different.
I think they're
there's
pretty
some
significant.
How?
Like the storm,
So
like
with
I'm
like an
basically-
interceptor, you get like combo attacks with your
It's
melee
like
stuff.
the interceptor's like a melee.
When you're
class.
playing storm, you just like hover and you just rain down elemental stuff.
You can hover with all the
but
classes.
not
Like
nearly
the-
as long.
Storm can hover a lot longer.
Storm
It
can
can,
hover a lot
and it gets a
longer,
shield
but you're not
bonus.
effectively doing that with like a Colossus or something like that.
Yeah, so the Colossus is the one I didn't get.
Colossus is, I think, the most fun.
It's probably the most different because it, what is it? It doesn't have a dash. Like the dash button raises a shield, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Well, he
You can
doesn't.
sprint, it's got-
So
it
when
has a
everybody's
shield.
flying, you can hit B to just like do like a barrel roll. He just puts up his shield.
Yeah.
But that's actually a lot of fun when we're on the ground. So you can put up the shield and just start running
Yeah,
and
that's what I
mowing
meant.
through guys.
Yeah.
That's
And there are
that's
two
awful.
weapon types that the Colossus gets. The grenade launcher and
Auto
autocannon are only Colossus.
Yep.
I mean, the bigger thing with the classes for me was I unlocked my first one and switched over to it and had nothing for it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
stuff started
that's a
dropping
bummer.
for that, and then I was like, wait a minute, so does that mean I'm effectively abandoning my other javelin because I'm not going to get drops for that now?
Right.
Yeah, kind of. But
I don't want to go back to the other one because it's
So-
like I don't have.
It's like I felt like I should
stuff
just
for it.
pick one and stick with
Yep.
it so I would keep getting gear for it.
But like the missions aren't difficult. So like I went into like every time I unlocked a javelin, I went in and did like 2 missions with it and had enough between the drops and like you have so many fucking crafting materials that you can just craft stuff that's at the level for that javelin.
Yeah, but I can still only craft one thing per slot.
Oh,
Like, I haven't gotten any recipes
Okay,
yet.
so the recipes are tied to faction rep, which
Right.
is also a pretty terrible way to go about it.
Yeah. Like you would you have to grind that stuff? Because just playing story and side missions, I haven't leveled any of those factions up.
Every
enough.
time you pop a resource node in free play, you get a little bit of faction rep.
Okay.
And so you can kind of grind it out that way. But also talking to all the people in the fort will often give you rep.
Okay.
And doing all those side missions that you stopped doing because you wanted to wait for the tomb stuff, that's where most of your reps going to come from.
I've hit at least level 2 with all the
Yeah,
factions.
but
so
you need to
far,
hit level
but-
3
Okay.
to get like, okay, now you can build
blueprints,
most
yeah.
of these blueprints.
Okay.
And that's a really terrible system. I think that's a really bad way to handle
It's
Maybe,
broken.
maybe I've hit level
It's
3 by
super
now, but
broken.
I've now done all the side missions. The only thing I haven't done is the stronghold.
Yeah, I hit
and
level
don't-
3 with the Sentinels last, and that turned out to be the one that I actually wanted in terms of like, oh, now I can craft this stuff.
So I gotta ask, and I feel like it's pretty telling since it hasn't come up yet, but this is a BioWare game. How is the writing? How is the story? The characters? That sort of stuff.
It's not.
It's not a great story. I don't
Yeah.
think it's written poorly, but there's so little to
Like a
grasp
lack of
onto.
character.
And, well,
You never
just the
see-
opposite. Actually, I
yeah.
think a lot of these characters try so hard to be very quirky. You know,
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's,
So
it's, they're
Are they all Cade?
kind of yes,
Oh.
but not. They're not as wisecracking, but
Right.
like they everything in the game has a specific tone to it
I think I figured it out.
that is like overly irreverent and
Sure.
yeah.
When we recorded that first impressions video, like I was trying to place like what it is about the acting
Yeah.
and the movement and the dialogue and stuff in a lot of the cutscenes and the way that because it's a first person, like it's a first person game in all the story sequences. You never see your character, and I figured it out. It's like an FMV game. Like they are overacting into camera the
sure.
same way Dana Plato did.
Yeah.
But like, and that seems like something I should be all for. But it just
Not for a
they
game
fuck
like
it up
this.
all. Yeah, not for a game like this, and they kind of fuck it up all over the place tonally. And it doesn't. It's just inconsistent. But it feels like bad FMV game acting with pre-rendered characters. And yeah, I didn't find many of the characters. There are like 2 characters that are so like when you go back to the fort, there's a bunch of like side stories that don't lead to gameplay. That are just like, here's someone you can talk to at the fort, and every time you come back, there'll be another line of dialogue or another bit there
Exchange, yeah.
until it's done. And there are like 2 of those that I thought were like worth going through.
which ones are the good ones?
There's one involving a spy, or 2 spies.
Okay.
And that's a pretty late game.
Okay.
Like some of them don't open up until near the end of the game. It's
Okay.
like suddenly there's 3 new people in the fort to aimlessly talk to. All right.
Because I've got like the bar owner and the lady who bet her javelin and is
Yeah.
trying to not give it up, and
Yeah. And there's a woman who lost her daughter.
Okay.
Or
I
son, I guess, actually,
okay.
depending on
Oh.
what character you play.
I haven't seen either one of those yet.
Those are the 2 that I thought were like, there's writing in there that I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. But like in terms of likable characters, like, it's
They're fine.
they're fine.
They're not like nothing. Stepping back, like no one aspect of this game is outright terrible. It's just
I can think
I
of a
think
few.
there are things
Okay,
on the
there are-
gameplay end
sure,
that I would
yes,
say
there are things about mission structure
the
that
loot
could be-
stuff
yes.
in the mission structure. I think are actually terrible.
But like generally, most aspects of it are like okay,
Competent, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like you can. It
But-
looks expensive.
Yeah,
in,
but
in some ways.
especially in the case of the story, I think it is suffering badly by being a BioWare game, and like looking 2-3 releases back from this studio.
Like they're trying so hard to like make that a part of their game. their lineage, their
But
DNA.
it's just, but also, okay, maybe that's part of it. But I think
At least for me, my
even
expectations.
removed from the expectations, like trying to just judge this story on its own compared to other games that are trying to do the always online games, the storytelling can get tricky. I feel like Destiny 1 at launch was a better game than Anthem top to bottom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would 100% agree with that.
Like storytelling,
I can, but-
the campaign, the quality of the storytelling and the quality of the campaign specifically, since that's what we're talking about here.
Like the plot,
Strong
the
disagree.
I would
plot in Destiny 1 is a mess, but the world building is fantastic. Like the universe they construct.
And I feel like the world building here is like very slapdash,
Yeah,
and they don't do a good job of setting the story in motion, or like kind of setting the stage for like what this world truly is. If the thing you could levy at Destiny 1 was that all of the fucking lore stuff was out of game in cards and all the other stuff, I guess you could say at least it's in the game here because they filled up a codex full of things.
And
But
they dole it out in like weird increments
Yeah.
too. It's like, you'll find items in the world that you can add to your codex and they'll give you a little bit of backstory or like flesh it out the world a little bit.
It's just you're finding scrolls just laying around town and picking them up and going like, oh, well, here's a story about the spy organization that's working in town. This like, why is that laying there?
There's some dude's helmet. That's what the storm chasers are. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's very.
I don't think you don't get a good sense of like what the scale of the world.
I thought this. Okay,
are.
I'll tell you this. Until I got to basically just past this tombs area where you are, I thought this game involved space and other planets. And I
assumed that.
Yeah.
Not really closely following it.
It is one area. The whole game is set in that area.
Okay.
And that area is not big or diverse or interesting enough to carry an entire game.
So that's the thing, because they make references to other cities and an academy like an empire and an emperor and the Dominion and all this stuff, but I don't really have a very grounded sense of like where everything is and how big it is and what the stakes are. Like
have they done sort of a content roadmap? Have they talked at all about like we got some big pieces coming and
there's a whole it's interesting because they're talking about ongoing storytelling like over the course of the year.
So I will say, without getting into the spoiler end of things, when you finish that game post credits, there's a thing that tells you here's the thing that happens next.
Like next time on Anthem,
kind of. Like it's done in game. It's not like some announcer like TV show type thing. But it feels very much like an episodic TV show.
Okay.
In that, like, hey, this or hey, this arc is done, and the next part is probably going to have nothing to do with any of this stuff.
Interesting. I mean, like in a
hey, new threat. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, in a situation where all those updates, as far as I know, are free, I believe.
I think so.
Like maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Like if they're saying like, hey, in a month we'll have.
Is it a month? Like I don't know.
March is when they're saying like Act 1 of the ongoing stuff begins, I believe.
Oh, I thought this was Act 1. And
no, I think that's what comes post-release.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull up their roadmap.
But also, like, the other thing I'll say is that I think the way that this story resolves itself is so underwhelming that you almost figure like, well, there's got to be more to it, right? And then the next on is like totally different stuff, and you're like,
really?
oh, okay.
I mean,
like this sure seemed like a big deal right up until I just showed up and shot stuff for 5 minutes and then the credits rolled.
I mean, honestly, like to the extent that I feel like the story in the shipping game is not very engaging, like hearing that a totally different story awaits is almost like refreshing.
I mean,
it's like, all right, because it's kind of a chance for a reset, and maybe they'll do something more with it.
I guess
next month.
But at the same time, like, nah.
This roadmap says launch on February 22nd.
Sure.
March 2019, Act 1, Echoes of Reality. So next month, Act 1 of this ongoing story is going to launch. So I'm curious to see what they do with that.
Well, if you decide to finish the game, tell me what you think of that tease, because it did not make me think like, oh, I got to know what that's about.
I need to see how this thing plays out at this point. I really do. But I do want to see what they do with that tomb stuff on Friday. Also,
I want to see how much changes with this day one patch. As it were. But
I think that like the issues that I have with that game are deeper than
too
a
deep.
patch.
Oh, sure,
like
totally. There are a lot of structural issues that
unless they patch in like, hey, here's like 90 more weapons and they all fire weird and a bunch of and hey, now the higher level abilities act differently than the lower level ones.
Luckily.
What I really like about the gameplay and the combat are the flight and the nimble sort of dashing around stuff. And like I'm with you that the
enemy diversity never inspires you to actually take
I-
advantage. Like hovering is good. Hovering is fine. Whatever. You can do it all you want. It's only really useful for the one enemy that has the shield because you need to get up there and nullify his cover.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like with the storm,
Or
it's
if you're a
easier to
storm,
aim
yeah.
your AoE when you see him from overhead. Like there are
Totally
elements
and
to
the,
it that
the
are
ult
better
on the
in the air.
ranger is, you know, if you can see more, sure. It's there's tactical stuff there.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you can just kind of hit the abilities, hover if you want.
You can.
Well,
sure.
And
What I was gonna say is, like,
there's,
the
there's
combat-
no meaningful difference between hovering and not hovering.
The combat's
in
okay.
Most encounters.
Like there are good and bad things about the combat, but what I was going to say is the bigger problem for me is the lack of variety in what you're doing mission to mission. Like every single mission is like 3 instances of like, hey, go over there, activate a thing, enemies will show up, kill them, now fly to the next objective marker, do that 2 more times. You know the third time you do that, the mission is about to end.
Right.
Every single mission.
Like the freelancer guy that's giving you missions, like even his lines of dialogue are just like, well, since you're out there, why don't you take care of this for me?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of inconsistencies around, like, so it's a game that they built as an online game, and by default it automatically matches you in with other players, but the entire story is written from the perspective of you are alone.
Yeah.
Except for occasionally when, like, okay, we have to find bombs and disarm, you know, whatever, like you have to find multiples of a thing.
Those that at those points it's nice to have a squad because those get done faster.
But also there are lines of dialogue that are like, someone on your team found the thing. And it's like, so that it's like they occasionally remembered to write dialogue that implies that you have people with you.
Yeah.
But like for the entire story, you are the freelancer. It's you that did this. And it just feels like so fucking early Xbox, like back before they wrote new dialogue for co-op modes.
It's got to be so hard to write for, you know, to have like an engaging experience in a multiplayer, you know, like MMO kind of experience. Like that's got to be so tough.
But like just say we occasionally
Right,
acknowledge
right.
that there's a team, because
there's gotta be a better
unless
way,
you
for sure.
manually force it to a private game and don't opt to not match in with anyone, you're always going to be with someone. So they do know that it's always going to be a 4-player game.
And you better hope that you have a fast ass hard drive, otherwise you're going to miss dialogue.
I was going to say,
you'll load into a mission 20 seconds late.
My least favorite thing about the way they handle squad stuff is how restrictive the like allowable area
like, hey,
around your
you're
squad
out of this
is.
area. We're going to warp you forward.
Like
it's fucked.
The second somebody
that
on your
happens
team
way too
decides to
often.
head off to the objective before everybody else, you immediately get that pop up saying you're out of the mission area. Like we're going to warp you there in 20 seconds, and if you can't catch up,
It's like, hey, I hope you weren't trying to like go get some resource nodes or look at a thing or talk to someone. You know, like God forbid you were trying to take in the fucking world.
Yeah, and with like the requisite pauses to let your jetpack cool down and stuff, like you're almost guaranteed to have to get warped ahead to where your team is already like in the middle of an encounter or something. Like it's just so disjointed.
I don't think this game is doomed. Like I've got a laundry list of like things that I find wrong with it.
Yeah, but it's going to require
it's going to
serious
require
commitment
significant
on their
amounts.
part.
Yes, I fully agree.
Like the scary part there is this is EA we're talking about, and
Yeah.
like you have to wonder if this doesn't catch on, are they just going to pull the plug on it?
I wonder.
The Division's out in 3 weeks, so like, what happens to their player base when there's fresh competition? Do people stick with this game? Do they care enough about it to even see the next DLC, to engage with the microtransactions?
I feel like I'm kind of invested. Like I've actually had a really good time. You know, that laundry list aside, you know, the loading times and everything. I mean, there's so many things that are not. Anyway, I played
less than ideal.
I played 10 hours of my Xbox trial. Immediately went over to PC, put in like another 15 hours, and I actually had a really good time playing on both of those.
Are you playing with friends?
Yeah, I'm playing with friends, and that helps
that
a
has
ton.
a lot to do
That
with
helps a lot with, you know, the combat, you know, when you're calling out shots and saying like, you know, I'm laying down acid right now.
Or you can ask somebody like, hey, wait up, like don't fly to the next objective marker yet. Let's go check out that resource node.
That's the stuff they imply about the grandmaster difficulties don't unlock until you hit level 30.
Right.
And the implication when they describe those modes is like, hey,
Make sure
synergies between powers and stuff will be meaningful here.
Yep.
And
I can
like, that'd be
see
cool.
I can see that, yeah, but it's not as prevalent in those lower levels.
on normal and hard, no.
Right.
Like that's why you just spec for like, okay, my 2 items combo, because I'm not going to guarantee that any of these strangers are ever going to fucking team up with. Like they have puzzle solving in the campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
it's
can
like
be
go
kinda
around
rough,
and
too.
you have to turn these things, but like you're in there with strangers who are just also, are they doing it right or are they just fucking with
Who
it? I
knows?
don't know. No
The
one's
first
talking.
time I hit one of those glyph puzzles, before the dialogue could even finish saying like, "Hey, go check the area for clues how to solve this," my team had just brute forced
Solved it.
the puzzle by just spinning it over and over until
the
it worked.
puzzles are not
That's
super
good for
engaging, but
Yeah,
it's
but-
just a weird thing to have in a
yeah,
game
like I
that you're
just didn't-
probably going to be playing with strangers.
Yeah, like I didn't even have time to engage with that mechanic before it had just been solved for me.
I think that's the thing is like there are just so many bizarre choices all over the place on top of like for me it just comes back to I just don't think any of the combat is actually interesting or good.
The guns for sure and the powers to some extent I agree. Like again, the flying and the dodging are fun for
And
me.
like,
but
I
it's
think
not
super
enough.
fun. I really like being Iron Man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You should
I do. I got my hands on it for
Oh.
like 20 minutes.
Pretty good.
It was like a couple chapters or whatever in, and so I did get to like mess around with the suits a little bit. I like the way it felt. I like the way it moved. But hearing all this stuff about mission structure, like there's going to need to be some major overhauls, like Destiny. You know, I wasn't in on Destiny ground floor, but once I started hearing about
Yeah.
the updates and,
And
stuff,
The
like,
Division did the same thing. Like
Yeah.
there's tons of precedent for loot games like fixing
Yeah.
themselves post release.
And like, hey, what if you could fucking actually shoot while you were flying? Like you can pop your ult, but
I can't think of a good instance in which that would work
here's
out.
a good instance. It would be fucking cool as shit to dive bomb things and shoot at it and fly
Or
and do it again.
like carpet
That does
bomb
sound
stuff.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Like, what's the whole fucking point of this? If it's like, oh, the minute I pull the trigger, it flies and it switches into hover mode.
yeah, you know what's cool about
Like,
Iron Man?
that's
He gets to go
terrible. Right,
while he's
exactly,
flying.
man.
Yeah, true.
Like they totally failed to capitalize on the good part about being an Iron Man.
They did not totally fail. That's
Dude.
hyperbolic. That's
Like
yes,
they absolutely the
They-
combat.
they
is
nailed a
so
lot of
bad.
that.
They
They
presented
nailed a lot of it.
reality in which it could be incredible, and they like tease it, but don't hit the mark, so it feels extra bad. Maybe.
I can
But like
I can
what
see that.
what is
I can see
there
that.
is bad. You know, like that's what they substitute it with is like, okay, well, use these guns and these abilities, and all of it's pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. Like setting the graphics aside, like every aspect of the game is somewhere between like okay and mediocre.
Like the encounter design is really.
But when you add all those things
yeah.
together, it just leads to a fairly underwhelming experience.
Yeah, you just get there, you do the thing, you move on. Like, and
Yeah.
you can play flashier if you want, but
and you'll have to at harder difficulty levels if you stick with
you
it.
can't guarantee that.
Well, you can see
They say it,
Yeah,
but they've said a lot about this game that hasn't been true. So I don't.
I can't guarantee
take
anything,
their
of
word.
course.
I can't take their word that Grandmaster difficulty will actually be interesting, or that hey, maybe hopefully maybe the legendary loot actually will be as good as that pre-order stuff, and it'll start to feel like, oh, this is the stuff that has weird shit on it.
Yeah, I wonder.
And that's the stuff
God,
they
I
need to
hope
roll
so.
back into all the earlier levels because you need to sprinkle that stuff
That
in the early
stuff
part of the
is
game.
Super underwhelming. I'm
Otherwise,
with
it's
you.
just like, it's fucking pointless. I cannot believe that. Like, again, for a game that like gets billed as a loot shooter, that the actual loot, the things that drop, are so bad.
Yeah.
And then you can't even try anything out mid-mission. You set your loadout and go into the mission,
Yeah.
Stuck with
and
those
you're
two
stuck with
weapons.
it.
You literally have to load back into town to
Yeah.
change your abilities and weapons out if you
It's-
don't
Which is
like
going
what
to
you
take
have.
probably another 5 minutes. You know,
Right,
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then so they also added that, and I think by their account, they added that social hub late.
Yeah.
That does not
that
have...
seems slapdash as
And
hell,
there's
too.
nothing. It's you know what's there? The fucking shop
Yep.
where you can pay for stuff, and like
The forge. And
forge
You can do your
and
expeditions there.
the vault is there.
The vault is there as
I
well.
have never. You can't do missions there.
Sure, you can. It's up
You mean,
top.
you mean like
got to
pick
jump
up missions?
jump above.
What is up there?
That's where you do your expedition stuff.
Because I looked at it's not even on the fucking map on the pause screen.
I don't know. That's where you go
God
do
damn
your
it, man!
expedition.
All right, okay. Then I guess you can go there because
Right.
that was like. I would go there and go like, okay, I can
Now what do I do?
some
Yeah.
stuff here, but I still have to like load into town proper to actually go on the next mission.
Wait, are you talking about picking up new expeditions or
No,
starting
no,
an
no.
expedition?
Starting an
because you still have to
expedition.
load into the full town to get the new missions, right?
Yeah.
From the characters.
Yeah.
There's a
unless
contract,
you already have.
There's a contract board there, but it always says no contracts available.
Oh, really? I can't say that I've seen that one, but
Yeah, all right.
I very rarely go to that. 'Cause
Yeah, it doesn't seem
I've
like
got
it-
shit to do in town.
There's always
yeah.
that seems like a hub for like when you have finished all of the story missions and you're just grinding on
Yep.
shit. But that was the thing of like, okay, this seems like the grind hub.
That is the
but
only.
I couldn't actually go out. I couldn't go anywhere from
Yeah,
there.
and that's the
so-
only space outside of like the game world, that you can see other
right.
hunters and stuff. What sucks is that I was in a squad with a couple people, and we went to that area thinking we could just go there, hang out, high five one another. But
It breaks you up after every mission.
It breaks you up. Like
you
you
have to
couldn't see-
reinvite before every
Wait,
mission.
what?
And I think you still stay in it, but you don't see each other
okay,
in
okay.
that room.
Are you saying you don't all go to the same launch bay?
I could not find
After
my
mission?
dudes.
What?
Could not find my dudes.
What?
I just wanted to throw flares and dance
Is that
and
the
shit.
whole point of having that thing?
Right.
What?
It's dumb.
Man.
Well, don't worry. It's not out until Friday.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we get plenty
And don't
of
worry,
time.
the Apex Battle Pass is coming in a couple of weeks. So
True. It's true.
I'm so
Like, if you want me to get hyperbolic, it's the part where
Always.
I say, hey, I think Anthem is like borderline disastrous.
it's a really bad launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, no, I think the stuff that I don't like about that game is fundamental to it, and you can't patch it out without
at least not
without
for-
inserting.
I have a little more hope.
without a whole lot of changes
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, like months of work.
But like this game as it is, and the stuff it says about what is likely to be next.
Like
Man, I think they missed the mark so hard.
Yeah,
Next
I
for
think they
Anthem
can
or
fix
next
the
for
loot.
BioWare?
I think they can fix the mission structure. These are fixable things, and I'm not saying that it's not
Yeah, maybe they,
within the realm of
I
possibility.
mean, itemization is like the thing that has
Yeah.
changed in other loot games that fixed them, so there is that, but
also they're out there on Reddit saying like, oh yeah, we took the skill tree stuff out. We're thinking about putting it back in or event.
Oh.
Like okay, so I'm gonna be like at max level for the base game, and then you're gonna add a skill tree.
Yeah.
Like what?
it's a fucking mess.
they
It's a
say
mess.
they're like we said, they're talking a big game about adding more story. They're adding what they're calling cataclysms, which people are speculating are sort of raid-ish over the next few months. So like there will be stuff coming for this game.
I will say that like the last mission in that game they describe as a cataclysm,
Okay.
and it's you'd shoot a thing.
Yep, I'm sure.
any sort of crossplay on this?
No.
Bummer.
How did it run on Xbox? I've like the
That's
the
where I
beta-
had the most, like,
demos
server
were,
issues.
Okay, the demos were pretty spotty on console from what I remember.
Yeah, they were.
Wonder if
But
they-
but they ironed out after a while. PC I had the best experience with,
Yeah.
with the exception of a couple times when like I was doing quick play and it would keep reloading me into the same quick play with nobody in it, and I could not exit out of it, so I'd have to like hard quit. But on Xbox, yeah, there were a lot of like you get to the 95%. And it's just
Oh, that's
infinite.
still there?
Yep.
I had that happen once.
I haven't had that. I haven't seen
I had
that
it
on
happen a
PC.
couple times.
How's the frame rate though?
Frame rate is still, I want to say it's like 30-ish.
Okay, I heard
but
it was somewhat dodgy.
yeah,
Okay.
playing on PC, it's pretty smooth.
Last question about the revive mechanics. So I tried to do the first stronghold last night, the Tyrant Mine.
Yeah.
I loaded into the first area. I went down because there's all those like auto targeting turrets there, like sniper towers or whatever. There's a bunch of sniper shit there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know what my team, like I had 3 other names there.
Mhm.
I didn't see them in the world. I assumed they were around doing something. But when I went down, nobody ever came to revive me. And I couldn't do anything but spin the camera. Is that intentional?
So
Like even hitting start and select would not take me to a menu where I could quit out of the
Yeah,
mission.
because you need to wipe.
Like nobody ever came to revive me, and nothing but the stick rotating the camera would do anything on the controller.
Well, so the thing, the way those resolve is either you clear that checkpoint and everyone pops up,
right,
because the dark zone respawn limiter is gone,
right, or
or
somebody comes and
everyone
gets
wipes,
you, or everybody,
or
wipes.
someone gets you.
Okay,
Yeah.
So none of those things happened, and I was just stuck.
Cool.
I had all that 4 out of the game because
Awesome.
I literally could not even go to a menu
Great.
and quit out of the mission. Is that
I didn't
intentional?
have that happen, but
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out, if that was a bug or if that's how it's supposed to
Don't worry,
work.
it's not day one yet.
Because I was just like flabbergasted.
I'm trying to think, like,
nobody's
where-
coming to revive me, and I can't quit
Did
out
you
of this.
see them around, or were
That's what I mean. I don't
Yeah,
know if
they
this
weren't-
was.
Maybe they
Their
didn't load
names,
yet.
their names were on the screen as if they were in my party, but I didn't see.
And you jumped in mid mission.
It was that first encounter where you're picking up the orbs and dropping them in the thing.
Okay, I've ran that thing twice, and I don't remember.
I don't-
anything about it. Like I've dropped so many fucking orbs into so many different things that
Yeah.
like that doesn't.
I
ring any
don't
bells, but-
remember seeing them physically in the space, but
Okay.
they may have been there. But their names were on the screen as
Yeah.
if they were in my party. Again, I'm trying to figure
I
out.
will
if this
say
was like
names show up as they're in your party before they actually get into game.
Okay, so maybe it was a server hiccup and they just never loaded in,
Yeah.
or something. It just seemed insane
I'm
to me
thinking.
that you could not force your way out of a mission besides just like ending the process.
I had a
basically.
mission crash as it was ending, and I got to run the whole mission again.
Nice.
And because it doesn't tally XP or anything until the end, I don't think I got anything at all for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah.
That shit's
Man.
messed up.
Also, you say that is the first stronghold.
Yeah.
Until you finish the game, that's the only stronghold.
Huh. Okay.
When you finish the game, there's a message that pops up and says, "Hey, 2 more strongholds."
There's 3 total, right?
It?
And one of them appears to be the last mission again, based on the
Wow.
names of them. And yeah, maybe it's different. I didn't go run them because I fucking don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see
Yeah.
what happens over the next few months
They've
with this
got
thing.
a lot of work to do.
like
sucks.
I hope they're committed to it. I hope that
Yeah.
they are going to stay the course and like do all the stuff they said, but also like iron out what needs to be ironed.
I wouldn't give a shit. Like, I wouldn't give a shit this much if I wasn't having, a pretty good time.
I was just
And I
was just hoping for the combat to be fun.
Yeah.
And that was what I was hoping to get out of it, and it's just so not that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm getting that.
There are
out of it.
things, like I said, there are things about the combat I like, but in the aggregate, I don't feel like it is totally successful. But
It's like the first hour of it, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
but that's also the 20th hour of it.
I just, I almost don't want to say it, but I just keep thinking about Mass Effect 2.
Like
Like
whatever.
I don't know how much you want to
That-
get into the lineage and the legacy of the
that
studio.
BioWare is gone, right? I mean, that's not BioWare anymore.
Like that's why I went when they invited us to that event at EA like a month-ish ago. Like that is basically the reason I went to that event was like because the alpha had been around. We played it at E3 briefly. Like I knew what the flying was like. I was like, I need to see what's between the action in this game. Like
Right.
who are you talking to?
Right.
And how in depth are those conversations? Is there a dialogue wheel?
Yeah.
Like I want to see the talking to part of this game.
I feel like
and
a
there's
lot of
just not much
of
there.
the talking stuff, like you do occasionally get a dialogue choice, but
Yeah.
it feels like they both resolve in the same place.
Oh, totally.
Like maybe there's some
Yeah.
changes where it's like, in fact, there are some that seem like it does make it resolve one way or the other.
Yeah, it does.
But not in a
Like I just,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I had
back
the
on
unique perspective of being able to play,
Twice.
twice essentially. So I would choose different options, and in a lot of cases, it would just like abruptly end the conversation. They're like, "All right, see ya." But
I
the other
had a few
option
of
would
those,
would actually let you,
just
continue.
fucking thinking back.
But I
on,
guess
like,
what I'm saying is like you end up in the same
Yeah,
place.
I
regardless.
don't know what the end result is, if anything, but it might just be a way to get out of the dialogue quicker.
Yeah,
I
just-
don't fucking know.
hours and hours of time just spent standing there talking to people.
Yeah.
Hours and hours
in
and
their
hours spent
games.
loading
And just like
fuck.
just devouring every line of dialogue.
Oh, you're
you could
talking about-
find,
I
like
mean,
those
too.
characters were just so fleshed out and rich and
Yeah.
so much stuff going on. in
And
that
your
world.
character had stuff going on with it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's not here either.
Yeah.
Like the main character just feels so blank.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's not one of those games.
It is not. Absolutely not.
And
yeah.
that's fine. I don't think,
yeah.
and I don't even think this a studio is
they're-
like bound
no,
to make the
certainly
exact
not.
same thing over and over
No,
again.
no,
either,
but when they have been doing things that are as notable as that, and they'd stop doing those, it's definitely fair to ask, like, what are they doing instead of that?
right. And what they're doing is, I think, not a good game.
Right. Like,
So,
what
that's-
what did we gain by them giving up this thing
Right.
that they are known for? And it's like, look at what they're doing instead. And
Like,
it's-
if anything,
that
I think
was
you
not-
look at Mass Effect Andromeda as like that is them still trying to make one of those games
Yeah.
and messing it up real bad
Yeah, sure.
to the point where this
Sure.
is not even that. And like,
Well, but
I'll,
like,
I'll put it like this: by the end of my time with this game, my wife's a big Dragon Age fan, huge Dragon Age fan. By the end of my time with this, I had to tell her like, yeah, I don't know if they'll even get to make it, let alone if it will be good when it comes out.
Jeez.
That's how I feel about Anthem.
man.
I was shocked. I was shocked at how like underwhelming the end of it was. It was just that feeling of just like, oh, that's okay. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess,
I-
go out the way you came in.
Yeah.
Exactly the same combat, exactly the same type of encounters. Sure, why not? Why change anything now?
Yeah.
It's just,
I'm really curious to see what the next story is about. Like that tease you talked about. Like I want to know what.
it's not.
As many issues as I have with the game, I want to know like what other thread they're going to pursue after this,
Yeah. Sure.
and where they're going to take it in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I just.
I need them to fix their existing shit before.
Well, I mean, the
Looking that far ahead.
story that's in the shipping game is what it is, and
Yeah.
you're going to get through that, and that'll be it. But what follows is the question.
For me, it's that game is not fun to play. I did a lot of flying and had some fun with the flying, and I even got, I was like, oh, I'm going to try to carve through these waterfalls and fly as long as I can just because I got to do something here.
Yep.
And I got pretty good at that. Fuck it, man. There's just nothing there.
Yeah.
There's nothing left.
It does not evolve much over the course of.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
That's the, if I had to single it down to like, here is like the biggest thing that Anthem does that works against it is that it is identical from start to finish.
Okay.
In terms of encounters and stuff like that. And you can
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that.
like Far Cry, like Crackdown, get with some friends and talk, and it'll be a much better time. But you could say that about any game.
Yeah.
You could play a better game.
Okay.
Ugh.
All right. You guys want to take another break?
Sure.
Let's take another break. All right, we'll be right back. News. I think we still have time to talk about it. And there's a lot.
Kofi Kingston
Who?
No,
Go feet.
in the news.
Cito.
Put the title on him.
Brad, hurry, you gotta
Put
go.
the strap on that man.
Brad,
That's
start
right.
talking about Nintendo
New Day
or
deserves
something.
it.
Coffee? What?
Get your flowers, Kofi. Get your flowers.
I like coffee.
He's the best.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh, what if he had done a boom drop from the top of the
What
chamber?
if?
His tailbone would have been broken.
Yeah.
But it would have been amazing.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
So,
Okay.
such a good theme, too, though.
Mm-hmm.
In the video game news, turns out practically every bit of that Nintendo Direct leak was legitimate.
Mother 3, baby.
Yep. Congratulations, the time is now. With the exception of the Metroid Prime trilogy stuff, that did not make an appearance.
Though you have to then
yeah.
assume that is given further credibility
Yes.
as an existing
Yes.
thing.
We can probably assume that'll show up at E3 or something similar, since everything else in that leak has now been announced. Such as
That was a banger direct.
that was a good Direct, yeah.
I only watched the first 90 seconds of it.
And then you
You're
blacked
good.
out.
Yeah.
Thinking back on Directs where like they've spent half the time talking about combo mechanics in Mario Tennis.
Or Smash changes.
Yeah, this was an action-packed, announcement-heavy 35 minutes.
All games all the time.
We already talked about Tetris 99. They announced and released that. I guess I'm just going to start bringing my Switch to work every time there's a Direct now, just in case.
Yeah. Lucky I had mine.
But yeah, Super Mario Maker 2 at
Yeah.
the top of the thing.
Hell yeah.
As someone who doesn't remember much about Mario Maker, that sure looked like more Mario Maker.
Slopes.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Slopes,
Slopes.
Angry Sun.
We're Incline's really not in
Really?
the original. Really?
Yeah,
I could've
it's a
sworn.
grid-based. It's
Well, I
you
know, but I'm
the
just
power of the Switch allows these non-90 degree angles to be possible.
They added some stuff with like pathing, like drawing out exactly where platforms are. Like, you know how you could ride those like bone platforms in
Cool.
Super Mario World and
Yeah.
stuff. You can now program exactly where those are going to go. They have enemies that you can do similar things. Like there was a piranha plant the guy was dragging where it was going to move. Looks like a lot of the stuff from newer games. Like you got the cat suit.
Yeah, so it looks like it has 1-3 world new, and now the new one is 3D World.
Stuff from 3D World.
Stuff from 3D. Well, a full tile set for 3D World.
Right, but still 2D.
But still 2D.
Yeah,
like
'cause
not
that's a
actually
3D game.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
weird.
But like
And
that showed like, they're showing like bullet bills coming out from the background
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff
showing
like
underwater
that.
pipes that you could like do cool shit with.
And that's where I think a lot of the pathing stuff comes in.
Yeah.
And hopefully that stuff all still works on the older tile sets.
I think it should, because you do have older, like,
Yeah.
in the Mario world, it was those bones you could ride.
Right,
And
those
and other
bones.
games.
Did the first game let you play any level in any tile set?
No, the creator chose the tile set.
Okay.
But you could switch
Or-
on the fly. Post-create, there were some items that would change. Some items,
Okay.
but there were also some items that didn't exist in Mario 1 that they drew
That's
Mario 1
That's what I was
versions of
actually
to make it
asking.
work.
Like
Yeah.
every element exists in every tile set, right?
With rare exception.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Karibo's shoe.
Yeah,
Like,
like
well,
Karibo's
there's
shoe
3.
becomes the cape.
Yeah,
or
no,
no.
Well, but
it
the
becomes something
functionally
Yes.
exists. That's what I mean. So like there will be an 8-bit catsuit sprite.
Presumably, there
what you're
was an
saying.
8-bit catsuit in the first game, just not as a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like cosmetic.
Yeah, there
Oh,
were a
it
bunch
did
of
not
Like how you can
cosmetic
play as
functions.
Waluigi
Okay.
or whatever.
Okay. Because that'll presumably let you climb walls.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I
is how
like the
it
way
is.
you say Waluigi.
I hope I said it last time before the announcement, but I hope they are a little bit less stingy about how they roll stuff out to you.
Unlocks for yeah. It looks like they've redesigned the interface.
Yeah,
and-
there was some like radial
Yeah,
reels
radial
and
menus
stuff,
for
which I
selecting
think
stuff.
is smart.
Was all the editing presented with touchscreen controls?
in the direct.
Yeah.
Like the same interface is there in a way that implies touchscreen controls, but it looks like they also have the radials to maybe make item selection more possible with a controller.
Okay.
So I have a lot of questions about that aspect of the game and what it means, because I feel like I'm going to want to create levels undocked because if that's where the touchscreen controls live, that's how I want to make levels.
I wonder do you think it's going to be harder with a finger than a stylus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that so I bought a capacitive stylus a while back.
You're set then.
And I might just try to use that.
I feel like with the slope stuff too, with like getting precision lines, you're gonna want to do undocked stylus, like for drawing those straight lines and stuff.
Well, I think you only have like 2 slopes. Like I think it's like gentle slope and I don't get the impression that you could just draw it.
Right? No, you can't just draw freehand. But like the slopes, it looked like there were different.
Yeah.
Well, with regular controls, you could just specify start and end point, and it would just draw.
Yeah,
the slope.
that's how
that shouldn't be a problem.
that's how they did bridges and stuff. But it was just like, hey, stretch the bridge out. Now
Right,
like
I'm saying-
stretch and adjust the slope of.
With touch, that has to be a touchscreen thing that is going to be the preferable way to do that.
And I think that's top to bottom. That'll be you'll want to use a touchscreen, I bet.
Yeah.
Which then made me realize it's way harder to stream level creation if you have to do it undocked.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
So that's why please sign my petition to include mouse support in Super Mario Maker 2. So that it can just hook up to the dock and we can use a mouse to create levels on a TV.
Very
Solves
smart.
every problem. Done. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Mario Paint did it.
It's true.
This has Mario Paint stuff in it.
Perfect.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a really smart idea.
Did they have any sort of date or
June.
time frame? Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm also, I really want to know if the existing levels will come in.
Yes, that is a big question.
I don't think they will.
There's,
Well, it's
I mean,
an
it sure
outside
would be a good
third
way to have a
party
stuff.
service,
It could.
right?
Yeah.
But
they came into the 3DS version of the first game.
Third party.
Yeah.
Well, with the ones that were
Yeah.
compatible, there were some that were not.
but like with the not Nintendo World, what's it called? Wii U, the Wii Universe,
Yeah, that's what it's called.
whatever that was, shutting down and
Miiverse?
it's already a bummer and like way more difficult than it needs to be to get certain levels and I just don't. I don't see it as a very Nintendo thing to do, to be like, and you can play all.
It is definitely not a Nintendo thing to do, but they absolutely should do it.
I would love to see them really rebuild the way levels are shared.
Oh yeah, you should be able to follow
yes.
creators more easily. You should be able to like.
You could do all that stuff. It's just a mess. It was
Yes.
a lot of stuff like sending levels outside of the game was the part that was
Yeah.
hard. And someone created a website that was like, hey, we're just gonna scrape Nintendo servers and put in your level IDs, and then we'll generate a little card for you. And like that was a useful service. That sort of stuff should just be better built in the game itself. Yeah, I'm very excited about that, but also like watching it just led to more questions about creation, about like the docked undocked stuff and all that. But
I think if it's as competent as the first one, I'll be happy, and if it's better, great.
totally.
They did not put in Super Mario Brothers 2, so I'm not happy.
See, and that's the hard one. Like,
I mean, I know,
it's
I know.
just fundamentally so different.
I,
that you can't.
I don't know how you make
yeah,
it work with the
yeah.
other stuff. Something feels a little insulting about the way Nintendo practically pretends that Mario 2 doesn't exist.
Well, to
What if
them
they
it
put-
doesn't.
What if they put real Mario?
I mean, I know it all happened in a dream.
So
but
I want poison mushrooms.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I actually want.
Yeah, that stuff
the
should
Mario
be.
2, Japan Mario 2.
that
real
stuff
Mario
totally
2.
should be. Well, yeah, then you'd have to worry about like how to define wind and stuff. That would get weird.
But like
I'm not
that's
saying
the
they
thing
couldn't
is
do
like
it.
they're getting in all this pathing and
Yeah.
and so you can now
You could do
adjust like for the auto scrolling levels. You can now make
Oh,
it
yeah.
scroll in different directions.
Like
fact,
you, can,
actually-
you can set camera anchor points. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
the camera,
actually,
so that's the
really
sort of
cool.
stuff that like makes wind.
Yeah,
I
even
think.
even the wind stuff wouldn't be that hard. You
Yeah.
could just plop an emitter down and set an
Totally.
intensity, and you're done. But like, yeah, the bigger thing is just fucking come on, man. Mario 2 is awesome.
Yes.
Like, they
You
should
know,
do more with that.
Yeah.
Great.
Shy
Shy Guy
enemies.
and Birdo are still there. and-
Yeah.
It's not enough. I want to
Snippets.
pick up a giant turnip and throw it at a.
We all
yeah.
we all do. No, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I want to go to Subcon.
Yep.
God damn it.
Where the music gets familiar.
Yeah.
I want to play slots after.
Yeah. Yeah. I got really good at that slots.
Yeah.
They wasted their best opportunity when they put out New Super Mario Brothers 2,
Yes.
and it was bad.
I feel like the Super Mario 2, Super Mario USA 2, it feels like it occupies a similar space to stuff like Metroid when you hear the stories about like, oh, in Japan, no one really cared about Metroid. And so they were not incentivized or they didn't feel compelled to make more Metroid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it just, in the home territory of its creators, it was not
Well,
something
it wasn't even
it
it wasn't even a Mario game.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Still sad to me.
Yes.
There were a ton of announcements of like ports and DLCs and stuff like that, but the other big stuff, Astral Chain
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from
that looks great.
Platinum Games.
I've heard of them.
Perhaps you've heard of them.
That looked like a platinum ass.
Yes, it
Platinum
looks
game.
like a Platinum game.
Great.
With cyborg anime cops.
Wait, hey, hang on. Good Platinum? Or
Good.
Or Legend of
Platinum.
Korra.
yeah, Legend of Korra Ninja Turtles Platinum.
Ah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what
I don't mean to.
Their original properties are good Platinum. Their licensed stuff
Okay.
is
Wonderful
other,
101.
is other Platinum.
Some of that. in
That
there
has to
as
happen
well.
eventually.
People seem pretty stoked about that for the most part.
Yeah.
Giant anime handcuffs. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like an anime-ass character action game.
Okay.
Running around, all of a sudden you summon a wolf. You're riding around on it.
Yeah, is it a robot wolf?
I think so.
Or does it at least have robot parts?
Don't we all have robot parts?
Maybe. I don't know.
I do.
It's just bad.
Dogs do.
Trying to make sure there's nothing else big besides the last thing they
Tsum
did.
Tsum Party.
Hell yeah! If you like Tsum Tsums.
Shit's cute.
I was honestly a
No,
little disappointed we didn't get any Joker gameplay for Smash. Like pretty much no Smash news at all. I was expecting like a stage and
They have their
like
own
Persona
conferences.
song.
Oh, the Rune Factory 4 special for Switch and then Rune Factory 5. That's,
Yeah, there's a ton of kind of. Oh, you mean like new game announcements?
Yeah.
I thought
That stuff
Rune
came out
Factory
of there.
4 is a port, right?
4 is a port.
Yeah.
5 is new.
I didn't realize there was a 5. This headline on the Nintendo site just says Rune Factory 4
They-
special crops up
was,
one more
was
time.
5 only in the Japan one or something?
Maybe? Yeah, there's no mention of Rune Factory 5 on the Nintendo of America page. Just 4. Weird.
All right.
Maybe that's not announced for here yet?
Yeah, I thought that the announcement was.
Jeff.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
You play
Jan, cut.
You play as Porkaline!
No!
You play as
Cut his
Porkaline
mic!
in 5!
Cut his mic.
Also, what is Rune Factory?
I have no fucking idea what he's talking about.
It's like a Harvest Moonish sort of thing.
Oh.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll talk about some of the other small stuff in a minute, but I've just kind of been dancing around the other thing, which is, hey, they're remaking Zelda Link's Awakening.
Fuck, dude.
Like,
They're
what?
throwing shaders on shaders,
Like,
man.
weird.
It looks so cool.
It's
Yeah.
a pretty interesting art style for sure. It's not quite
can't
tilt shift,
No.
but it's definitely kind of miniature looking. Everything's made out of plastic
Yep.
kind of style, which I think looks really cool.
Yep.
It
Got a
seems
nice
it
soft
is
focus to
it totally is tilt shifted.
I played through.
It's that art style seems incredibly polarizing.
I
There are
think
a lot
it's
of people out there
Wait.
that hate it.
Who? What?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
You go out
Are
there.
you fucking kidding me?
There
Is this fucking
like I think it might
Wind
be
Waker
I think
all
it's
over
Zelda
again?
all over again.
Look, you motherfuckers. This is why we can't have fucking cool shit, because you fucking suck. Because you're out there like, I want my fucking tough adult Link. I only want it to be like Skyrim now.
want to turn
'cause
to a wolf.
That's right. I want to turn to a wolf and fuck.
That's too long for a podcast title.
God damn it, man.
It looks like
I don't think
The
they're.
fuck, Wind Waker looks so good.
the original Link's Awakening has these moments, these kind of Easter eggs where you get your picture taken, you do certain activities, and you get a little picture for your scrapbook. They're recreating that perfectly. It looks so fucking good. It's like clean. It looks like I can reach out and touch it and play with Link and
And I want
have
to.
him
Yeah.
I think-
chomp in the yard, bounces around like
What I got from the people who didn't love the style was they didn't think it looked enough like the Game Boy game. Not that it's too kiddie.
I
They just
think-
thought it was like a direction they weren't happy with. It seemed like.
I think that they're like,
I think it's cool.
finding a good middle ground.
Yeah, I
Like,
never played it, so I'm super excited to play it at all. But I think that style looks cool.
I'm trying to think if I ever finished Link's Awakening. I know I I know I started it.
I've played
But
through that game a dozen times
Yeah.
on handheld. Like it was the first game I ever played that had that thing where I would close my eyes to go to sleep and hear the music and just see what I was seeing from the game. I was all about it. And I haven't played it for probably a decade at this point, so I'm really excited to see.
So I don't remember much about the game.
Yeah.
Do you think I should play that Game Boy game, or do you think I should actually just wait now?
I would wait.
I would wait.
Yeah.
Play the Game Boy game
That's what I was
after if
thinking.
you want to.
Because there was a part of me that's just like, I'm gonna go play Link's Awakening right now.
I think-
and fired it up, and I was like,
I think I am going to do that, but I think if you don't really remember it
Yeah.
or don't ever think you finished it, yeah, just wait. I was a little surprised. Brandon and I had talked about this on the Tetris Cook. Like, I was a little surprised when they announced it was a $60 like full priced game. There were pre-order links or something that went up on
Yeah,
Best
yeah,
Buy.
yeah.
But Brad kind of broke it down as like, it's they're rebuilding it from the ground up. Like it's getting a really proper treatment and
yeah, it's not like they can just like run the Game Boy. I mean, they
Yeah.
could. They should include the original game there if you want.
that'd be
to
cool.
go
Like you
back
could
and
play it on the
like-
Nintendo service or
Yeah.
something.
I saw people saying I didn't like compare credits or anything, but people were saying like this is the Link to the Past team more or less
Oh, nice. Okay.
that made the original game.
Yeah,
Like I assume that's accurate. I
I
mean,
think
this,
that's true.
this,
yeah.
this is not that many years removed from Link to the Past, right? Like they
Yeah.
probably
Or,
more or
Link-
less.
You mean A Link Between Worlds?
No. I'm talking about
okay.
like original Game
original.
Boy.
Okay.
Original Game Boy Link's Awakening was made more or less by
Right,
the people
okay.
who made A Link
Yeah.
to the Past. So like, if you're telling me this is just a nice HD remake of a lost Zelda that I never played from the people that made that Zelda, like fucking yeah, I'll pay $60.
There
for
was
that.
there was some weird link cable stuff at the end of the game, like with different colored tunics, and you can only get one unless you. I might be conflating it with Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, but I'm pretty sure there was some link cable stuff in there. So I'm wondering what they're gonna.
I feel
do
like Oracle's
for that.
with its two releases would be better suited to like link cable hijinks.
Yeah, I'm trying to
but I
remember
don't
what
know.
those games
There
did.
was some end game stuff with like different colored tunics, and I don't remember it clearly, but I'm interested to see how they.
Well, the original Link's Awakening wasn't in color, so
Right.
that wouldn't have worked there.
Well, I mean, like there was a blue and a red, and the blue gave you more defense, and the red gave you more. Like it was.
Hmm.
Something.
That sounds like the Oracle games to me.
You have to go in, but I never played the Oracle games.
Hmm.
Well, they also there was a Link's Awakening DX for Game Boy Color, right?
DX,
Yeah, that's the
was in
version
color.
I
Oh,
played.
I guess
Okay.
they could have added that stuff for the color.
Okay, yeah,
version.
maybe that was in a late
Okay,
edition.
that would make sense.
We figured it out,
That's right.
everyone.
We figured it out.
I assume everything from DX would also be in this remake.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
China.
Yes, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, she's going in the hall.
Finally,
Finally.
Right?
I never would have thought we would get another 2D Zelda.
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, it really does.
If people don't like it, they're wrong.
They'll be fine. They'll get over it.
These blades don't bleed enough for me.
Hellblade's coming to
Garbage.
Switch. Grid Autosport, Deltarune is coming.
Yeah.
There's a Demon X Machina demo out.
And Deltarune's going to be
Yeah.
free the same
Yeah.
way. I mean, it was free on PC.
Yeah.
But it's like that's interesting.
I want to say they've been out there saying they're working on getting it out on PS4 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you say a Yoshi game?
Yeah, the Yoshi demo is out. The makers of Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna announced another game, Oni Naki.
Yeah, they didn't show too
In a
much.
similar
Of that.
vein, I don't know that I am ready for. I don't know. Those games have not quite done it for me,
Mm-hmm.
but they are making another one like that. More Star Fox stuff and Starlink.
Oh wow, Starlink.
New DLC.
I feel like all those toys went on pretty deep discount
Yeah,
to a
over
point
the-
where I'm very surprised to hear you mention Starlink
Yeah.
as a current news topic.
People like Star Fox. Yeah,
A lot
stuff
of people
like that.
in Nintendo like Star Fox.
Some new DLC for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Box Boy is coming to Switch.
Yeah.
I've never played Box Boy.
They're good.
I'm
Those are good
trying
games.
Yeah, it's cool.
Co-op Treasure Tracker. That'll be good.
Oh wow, is that what they're okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That sounds neat. I assume like puzzles that you need two people to solve. Stuff
I
like
assume so.
that. So yeah, the rumored Metroid Prime trilogy for Switch thing did not appear. Here's a weird story that has shown up on Nintendo Insider as of yesterday.
That's my uncle's website.
Oh,
He works there.
well, what does your uncle have to say about Scalebound coming out on Switch?
Oh yeah, he's doing the development
yeah.
on
He's
it.
the guy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
We should talk to him some more.
He's doing the port.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm not familiar with the site, but here is a line from the story. I have confidence in my sources to report that it is my understanding that Scalebound has been resurrected as a project to be released as a Nintendo Switch exclusive.
What a weird thing. That was also a platinum joint, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was totally. I think Kamiya was directing that one, wasn't he?
Huh.
That sounds
If
right.
I'm not mistaken.
I'm never good at the lineage
Yeah,
of platinum directors.
I think that's right. But yeah, that one was announced for Xbox One as a Microsoft published game and then canceled.
Do you think Scalebound will be scaled down for?
Oh, I would think so.
I think it would be, like, who knows if it's even the same game at this point.
Yeah,
I
know.
And,
Yeah, this story says that the author doesn't know if it's being fully rebooted or if they're trying to salvage work from the Xbox version for this or what.
Weird.
it's just a character in headphones.
Okay.
That's as far as they've gotten. They're not sure if he's going to have dragons or not.
I'm really surprised by Platinum and Nintendo's growing relationship. Like
Yeah.
it's between,
Fascinating.
I feel like kind of Bayonetta 2 was like a big turning point of like
Right.
them support. They were supporting the Wii U in a way that
Yeah.
a lot of other people
Yeah, like
weren't.
Wonderful 101 was well received.
Yeah.
Nintendo was making it happen. That was at a time when third parties weren't really putting a lot of games out on Wii U, and it became clear that they needed to fund it themselves to make this stuff happen. So it seems like they, with was it Devil's Third and or was that the name of that?
No, Devil's Third is the Itagaki game that
Yeah, didn't that come out on Wii U
I
first?
think that's right. Yeah. Or Wii? I forget.
Uh,
One of those.
Oh man.
But there was they were like Nintendo was making some strange moves around the edges of the Wii U to get more games on that system. And I think it's I don't know that it made a huge splat. Well, maybe Bayonetta 2 was probably the lone exception. But I think getting that process down and up and running is serving them well now.
Yeah.
'Cause now they're they're the ones funding X-Men,
Marvel
Ultimate Alliance 3,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah, they should have shows for that
I
too.
believe that's the case. Yeah, they should more of that.
Which I don't know that looks
It looks
amazing,
kind
but
of
it's kind of
rough.
cool that a Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is happening.
Sure.
And then Bayonetta 3, of course.
Yeah. The story says, references, I guess, Imran Khan from Game Informer was on Kind of Funny a week or two ago where he mentioned, quote, a game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving. And the author of this story thinks that Scalebound is what he was talking about there. So there's some other kind of corroborating evidence this might be real.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
So that would be a lot of Platinum games coming out on the Switch, if that's actually the case. But we will see.
Yeah.
We started getting into the Activision Blizzard stuff at the end of the podcast. It was just starting to happen last week.
Yeah.
As the earnings and stuff were coming out, and they posted record revenue
Hey, congratulations.
and then immediately laid off 800 people.
Hey, Oh.
So they're like, nope, we
Well,
made
not even-
enough money now. We're good.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Also, not even immediately because there's all that stuff about like in France, there's people because of complex labor laws who are
Right.
like going to be laid off in certain number of months, but they
Yeah.
don't know who. Like it seems like not even as simple. Just
Yeah, it
all
sounds
these
like
people
all
are
the
fired.
layoffs in North America sounds like happened basically during the earnings call, but
Yeah.
some European territories didn't find out until the next day, or
Well, because it was after close of business.
Some of those places were just shut down for the day. Yeah, the cuts were in pretty much every division: Activision, Blizzard, King, several of Activision's satellite studios. It sounds like they were very heavily concentrated outside of actual game development,
yeah,
Right.
or more around like
Support staff or
sales.
esports publishing, IT, QA.
Hmm.
Like they basically said in the earnings call they're going to funnel more resources into game development and production.
I mean, they
Yeah,
don't
that
have any.
means-
Yeah,
Right.
they don't have games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Like pay some more developers to make some more games because
Yeah.
you don't have any anymore.
That does seem to be the case.
Just terrible.
Yeah. A whole lot of people out of work.
Record revenue.
Yeah.
Whole lot of people out of work.
I see. Whoop. Podcasting in here.
That's right.
Hi,
We're
Tay.
gonna have to get a sign.
Yeah.
Bye, Tay.
Get a hot light out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they made more money than they ever have, but they fell far short of their estimates.
That's the part that I don't get.
Seems
like,
to be the thing that they are like, okay, well, time to cut a bunch of people.
I mean, I know that they were not happy with the Destiny sales, and maybe that factors into some of that. But like, I don't understand how you project Call of Duty to be higher than it ended up, because like it's a good game.
Yeah,
the best it's been in years, Black Ops 4, but it's coming off of World War II, which it's maybe a step in the right direction, but then it's coming off of like a lot of down years for that franchise.
Totally, like they absolutely can be looking at the trend lines internally on that thing and figure out where it's going.
So the idea that they would like project, it just seems like maybe an unrealistic goal. Which,
totally,
hey, businesses are really good at presenting unrealistic goals.
Yeah.
And
the stuff I read,
but I mean, you might say corporate America runs on outlandish predictions and estimates.
Congratulations, you hit this outlandish goal, and now it's like fucking 30% higher for next year.
So that's
do it
the
all
thing
over
is
again.
the stuff I was reading, kind of like more economical-minded people breaking it down, that's saying that 2016's revenue was like super inflated if you like look back on it and adjust. So they were compounding their goal on top of numbers that they didn't know were already inflated, and so the market had started to correct itself last year.
And I mean, they fell short of their estimate by like $700 million. Like it was a massive deficit. But
so in order to like get investors to have faith in the company, they have to do dumb shit like we're cutting 8% of people,
tightening the belt and refocusing on making games.
What the fuck were they doing?
Yeah.
And we talked about it a little bit last week, and talked about a little bit on the after show last week, I think too. Just this idea of just like, hey, what the fuck is Activision working on that isn't Call of Duty?
Yeah.
They cut Destiny loose. They've got this like weird publishing wing. They've got Crash Team Racing.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people, that should be making another game. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
And some stuff came out of that earnings call aside from the layoffs that kind of addresses those questions. For instance, that Blizzard Entertainment is not going to put out what they refer to as a frontline release in 2019. So
I feel like I didn't need an earnings call. That they didn't seem like they had anything. Yeah. Coming out of BlizzCon or
would have been
anything
a surprise, but
I mean that phrasing I feel like doesn't preclude like Diablo Immortal, the mobile game coming out, or World of Warcraft Classic, or even maybe that Warcraft 3 remaster.
Right.
I feel like any of those things could sail below that bar.
Yep.
And come out this year.
They do have a new Overwatch map on the test realm that has a fully functional piano.
Whoa! I heard about that.
Yeah, I think that rolled out to real servers today.
I heard people were
I haven't played Overwatch in weeks.
Heard people were way into that piano.
It's cool,
and they're starting another season of Call of Duty content. I think today-ish, or
I think
soon.
The Blizzard thing. I feel like you might as well have just said, "Hey, Diablo 4 is not coming out this year."
Right.
I think that's really what that was saying there. They talked about Call of Duty. They did say that this year's Call of Duty will have a single-player campaign.
Well, yeah.
Is it going to have a campaign?
Yes.
They also said, let's see. So they said it will have an entirely new campaign, a huge and expansive multiplayer world, and some fun co-op gameplay.
Okay.
Ooh,
that's the quote.
Finally.
So if it's not fun, can we hold that against them?
Yeah, stock will take a hit.
Give my money back.
But they also said, so this is Dennis Durkin, the CFO, said that Call of Duty units are down year over year in our outlook. So, they're even out there messaging the business world that, hey, this franchise.
I have to imagine that, like, okay, it's like people were like getting their fill of Blackout, it seems.
Yeah.
And moving on. And so this update today, like, it's like, hey, we added new areas to Blackout and new stuff, and like they're still updating it and all this other stuff. I have to imagine that, like, all the other morale killing stuff around layoffs, obviously a huge deal. But if we can set that aside for a minute, man, Apex must have really fucked them up.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was a game, like we talked about, like, oh, I wonder if Fortnite noticed that Apex happened, and and all that stuff as the Apex numbers kept kind of going up. But you also start to wonder, like, okay, well, what are players kind of coming off of? What are they rolling off of? And like, oh, right, yeah, I wonder if like a lot of people that maybe played a bunch of Blackout that were done with Blackout are now never going to touch Blackout ever again.
Yeah, I mean that's me.
Yeah, that's probably me also. I liked Blackout fine.
Yeah.
But yo.
Fucking Apex like still really good.
I've been playing through Anthem going like, when I'm done with this, I get to play Apex again.
Last night we had a good old fashioned LAN party. We had 3 setups in the same room playing Apex.
Oh
and
man,
squads.
that sounds so good.
It was tight. Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, Apex is, not to just harp on Twitch numbers, but it's well over double what Fortnite's got on Twitch right now.
Yeah. I feel like Fortnite is feeling it, which
so
a coming
yeah, I'm gonna jump
news
ahead.
story.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump ahead because I was gonna get to that later, but this is way too appropriate right now. Yeah, Fortnite is somewhat generously giving away the Season 8 Battle Pass for free.
If you complete
earn
a bunch
it,
of challenges.
if you earn it,
play the game a bunch.
if you earn it through in-game challenges.
Which right now, this week, would probably be a good time to say, play this game a bunch instead of this other thing you've been fucking around with.
And
Come home.
As a
Come
matter,
back.
as
We
a-
miss you.
Fortnite.
We'll give you a little present.
As a matter of fact, you only have 8 days left to do this. So you better do it right now by
I'm
playing
good.
a lot of Fortnite right now. This started on the 14th and runs through the 27th. You have to do overtime challenges, and it is 13. You have to do 13 overtime challenges to get the Season 8 Battle Pass for free, which starts, I believe, basically after this is over.
Have they shown what the cool skin is at the end of it yet?
At the end of Season 8?
Yeah, the battle pass.
No.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I do know that some of these challenges will also get you some stuff out of Season 7 if you do them. But
Okay.
the challenges are like, I mean, some of the challenges you can do to tick this off are collect 15 coins in featured creative islands, place top 15 in duos with a friend, looks like 3 times, deal damage to opponents with assault rifles or pistols, search chests or ammo boxes at a motel or an RV park, regain health from a campfire in different matches, like stuff like that. So not totally unattainable stuff.
Right.
In a vacuum, it's really cool. Like if
It
you're a
is.
big Fortnite fan,
Yeah,
it's
right.
really cool
Yeah.
that you can earn
Like
a free battle
the
pass.
battle pass is usually what, like 25,
Oh God, really?
14?
Is it?
I guess because I
been a
I
while.
bought
We
the
bought
season
the
7
one for
pass,
season
and
7,
but I bought the one that came with levels, so I bought the expensive
okay.
version
that's
of it.
okay. Maybe that's why. Because I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
I
like,
think it's standalone. It's like 12.
my only experience with battle passes are in Dota, where they were never more than like, I think 10 was the most they ever were, but sometimes they were more like 8, 7, 8.
A lot of the
25 sounds
yeah.
crazy, but
yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe at
maybe
lowest
we-
it would be like 12 to
maybe,
15.
maybe when you're the biggest game in the world, you can do that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
Like you have to look at this and the timing of it and ask yourself, when did this plan get put together? Was it,
Right.
say, in the last 2 weeks?
right.
Potentially.
And I
Pretty
feel
smart.
like I've been seeing a lot of like ads. Really, I remember like I haven't seen a Fortnite ad in a while because why
It doesn't need to.
do they need to?
Fucking Fortnite.
But now I'm just seeing like free battle pass, just giant letters on like banners and video intros and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really feel like they're feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Feeling
sure,
some
you know,
heat.
the numbers, like the total sort of lifetime unique players in Fortnite is still like numerous times higher than Apex's, but like
But you know,
Apex came pretty strong out of the gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, people joked about Fortnite until suddenly it wasn't a joke anymore. It was the biggest game in the world. Like that's how it
Yes,
happens.
totally,
right? So,
totally.
You know,
I'm going to read one email right now from James. Just
You're
'cause-
all over the place. I dig it.
Dynamic podcasting.
love it.
it's my new organizational system that's paying dividends here. This is from James. Today on the bus, I overheard a group of kids talking about video games.
Oh no.
I assumed they were talking about Fortnite, but upon eavesdropping a little closer, it turns out they were actually talking about Apex Legends. Is this looking like a case of the existing game being immediately toppled by the new hotness? If yes, should Epic be hugely concerned that their biggest revenue stream might be about to get considerably less big? I'm sure it's common wisdom that the Epic Games Store would never have been able to be so generous without Fortnite to prop up the rest of the company's profits. And I'm sure that Epic can't have been expecting such a gigantic spanner in the works so soon.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's I don't think anybody
impossible
can
to tell, yeah.
nobody can say with certainty what's going to happen with this.
I feel like, you know, you can look at kind of the timeline of events and you see the huge rise in Fortnite. It becomes the top thing, and then you start seeing stuff about the Epic Store. And to me, the Epic Store was always a means to one day Fortnite is going to not be Fortnite.
Right.
Like one day Fortnite is going to fall, and we need something in play. Or we're going to make a power play at like Steam.
Yes.
We're going to make a power play at Valve, like the biggest PC people we can.
Now's our chance to establish an audience irrespective of a game. Like just build a platform.
And so if they like stick this landing, you know, we're starting to see like, you know, Metro and other games are they're
Division,
getting
yeah.
set to here. And
Yeah.
if the public sticks with it, they're fine. They're perfectly fine if Fortnite begins to peter off. But I don't think Fortnite is petering off to a dangerous degree.
No, it's like
No.
EverQuest is still popular.
Yeah.
Like games that get that, but people still play.
But
People still
Dota,
play it, it's
Dota
not
is
the-
still
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
you
right.
know,
Like,
League and like
World of Warcraft still has millions of subscribers. Like people are not going to
Like I think
Counter-Strike.
Minecraft
Yeah.
is the game I would use because like you don't hear people talking about Minecraft anymore, but I'm sure it is still doing just fine.
I guess the maybe the difference here is the battle royale in general is still new enough that we don't know if people are just going to like bounce from game to game, or if one game can hold an audience for years and years.
Right.
I don't know that I agree with this guy's premise that they can only like. I think he's talking about like the revenue split in the Epic Games Store and stuff being propped up by Fortnite revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I agree with that premise because hey, they also make Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
I think their licensing business is also quite healthy. So I don't think like that generous revenue split is just going to go away if Fortnite suddenly isn't the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, because that's part of them getting inroads into this storefront business to begin with, right? So it's
Yes.
that's all in service of that as well. Plus, they already made all the money, so they'll be
Yeah.
fine for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think if I were Epic, I would have an eye on Apex, but I don't know that it's necessarily like cutting into their revenues in a meaningful way. If it is, then that's fucking super crazy. Like but like we haven't yet seen Apex's first meaningful update.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, we haven't seen what the real, they announced their seasonal stuff and the cadence of that stuff, but will there be more stuff in between that? Will they slip things into the game and really be rapidly responding to players?
Yeah, like
the
that
same way Fortnite does.
They had that Valentine's event, but it was super thin. It was like
Yeah.
2 weapon skins and a badge.
That was a bummer. Those weapon skins were like $11.
Oh yeah, that stuff was expensive.
Their skin prices don't seem great.
No, and the fact that you don't get a loot box every level after level 20 is
wow.
a huge bummer.
Yeah, you
that's-
start getting them every other level.
I think you
which
get a
kind
total of
is-
40, and then once you hit the cap, you're just
Huge capped. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
you suggested maybe the level cap will increase with each battle pass or something like that.
I could see. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'm kind of with you. I mean, like the game itself is so fun, like
Yeah.
it's worth playing, but like losing that little carrot on a stick is kind of a bummer.
well, and also that's stuff that's like, pretty well-worn territory in terms of like, hey, how do you introduce new things to a game and how do you keep people invested and
Yeah.
keep people going?
I'll reserve judgment until the battle passes out about
I'm-
like the economic system in that game.
I am dying to
Yeah.
see like just how much stuff is in that thing. How many characters per season?
Right. Yeah.
Like
I
how
think
much?
did they say 2?
I don't think they've said. I think maybe people are.
I remember
speculating
them
two.
saying new characters plural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it, will,
at least-
it sounds
at
like it
least
will be
two
at least
yeah.
two.
first.
At least 2 every 3 months.
And then
new
where do
weapons.
they go with modes also? Do
Yeah.
they
Or the maps,
Right.
plural, who knows?
Sure.
Like there was a
I
story.
think they said when you went that they were looking at sticking on this map for a good long time.
Yeah.
They kind of implied it. Yeah. But at the same time, they named the map.
Yep.
Like
They did.
it straight up says loading Kings Canyon.
And they
when you-
built all the PlayStation status stuff to say playing
Yes.
squads on Kings Canyon.
Yeah, like
And you're
come on.
All right.
I mean, fine. I would totally be into that game having multiple maps.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially like I think if you bring mobility changes on a map specific basis.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Like, hey, this is the map where wall running can happen.
Yeah.
This is the map where like I think that would be a kind of a cool, not necessarily just wall running, but like it'd be cool to
Low
have.
G map.
Yeah.
This map's on the moon.
There you go. Moon map. Why not?
They make a whole map in that factory level.
They
That'd be hard, but
Yeah.
but awesome.
they put out their second patch yesterday or today, and there's like a headline floating around like, oh, people have data mined references to Titans and wall running out of the new patch or something like that. But like,
Who knows?
they talk at
be
the event
leftover
about
stuff,
like
yeah.
starting with those things in.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
That
necessarily
could just be remnants of
Yeah.
old
Yeah, that
code,
could be
not
traces of-
necessarily.
that doesn't necessarily mean that stuff is
Also,
coming right
like
back.
you have to get the impression, like based on what you said about the way they prototyped this game into existence and how they did the same thing with Titanfall 2.
Yeah,
There's probably a subset of people at Respawn right now trying all kinds of shit.
totally.
Uh,
Well, yeah, like as exciting as Titans and wall running could be, like it might be even more exciting the things that we don't know about yet.
Totally.
Yes.
Like the new ideas they have that they haven't put in yet.
and just, that's a game where every hero, every character they add to that game changes that game or has the
Totally.
potential to change that
Yeah.
game
Totally.
based on, what they're going to be able to do and what they're going to be throwing at you.
Even if you don't play as them, if somebody else on your team does, or if you're playing against them, like that changes the match flow significantly.
They've got a lot of options
Yeah,
that are bigger than just like, let's do the Titanfall stuff.
Yeah.
And seemingly enough players, assuming the money's coming in, they've got, you know.
Anecdotally, I don't feel like I'm seeing a lot of the like legendary expensive character skins out there. I can think of one time where one of my teammates was like mousing over all the characters and he had like expensive skins for every character.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once, but I mean that's not like data to go on in terms of how much they're selling. That game's good though. If you didn't know.
Yeah, like I said, man, I'm playing through Crackdown, playing through Anthem, playing the chunks of Far Cry that I play, like the other stuff I've been doing. It's been, especially now that I'm playing another game in the fucking Origin client and can see just how much Apex the rest of you are playing. I'm just like, man, fuck. Everyone is so much fucking better. But like, I've seen so many people that I would never think of playing a battle royale game or a competitive shooter at all.
Yeah.
Getting deep into this fucking game and getting into the characters in the same way that they got into Overwatch characters.
Yeah.
And like, there's money there. So
I'm very close to buying
it seems pretty
a bunch
healthy.
of Pathfinder shit just from how frequently I pay them.
It's
Oh, do you play? I feel like I never see Pathfinders.
I watched the 30-minute advanced grappling tutorial video.
If you got really good with the grapple, I can totally see why. Also, when I do get a Pathfinder, I feel like they never use the beacons, which are super useful.
If I'm the jump master, I'm dropping in a beacon zone no matter what.
All right, you're a good Pathfinder.
God, I need to play more of that game.
It's man, God, what is it? It's 19th. Yeah, I wonder if the season starts on like March 1, or if it's just sometime in March that stuff will come out. I hope it's sooner than that. All right, to wrap back around to the Activision layoff stuff. I mean, it sounds like it was a big mess, which of course mass layoffs are going to be. Yeah. Friday afternoon, Kotaku ran an open letter from the AFL-CIO, which is, you may know, the biggest labor union in the country, which represents more than 12 million people. It's the first time that organization has reached out directly to game developers. And as you might expect, they are like, hey, unionize. There's pretty harsh language in here, which maybe you would expect.
Yeah.
But man, executives are always quick to brag about your work. It's the talk of every industry corner office and boardroom. They pay tribute to the games that capture our imaginations and seem to defy economic gravity. They talk up the latest innovations in virtual reality and celebrate record-smashing releases as your creations reach unparalleled new heights. My question is this: what have you gotten in return? While you're putting in crunch time, your bosses are ringing the opening bell on Wall Street. While you're creating some of the most groundbreaking products of our time, they're pocketing billions. While you're fighting through exhaustion and putting your soul into a game, Bobby Kotick and Andrew Wilson are toasting to, quote, their success.
Yeah.
They get rich, they get notoriety, they get to be crowned visionaries and regarded as pioneers.
They get to be in Moneyball.
What do you get?
Not to be in Moneyball.
Outrageous hours and inadequate paychecks, stressful, toxic work conditions that push you to your physical and mental limits.
You didn't even get to be in basketball.
Yeah, I would love to be in basketball.
The fear that asking for better means risking your dream job. It goes on in that vein.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah, they are making a public appeal in a way that they have not before. But they also flat out say, let's see. This is a moment for change. It won't come from CEOs. It won't come from corporate boards, and it won't come from any one person. Like they're basically saying, like, hey, y'all got to get in this together if you're going to make it happen.
Right.
But they are making a strong push, which is pretty notable, especially in light of the events of last week. So
it
could be an interesting year for that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that conversation's only been getting louder for the last few years now.
Mm-hmm. I want to see it happen.
Yeah.
It seems like it should.
Yes, it seems long overdue.
You think it will, though?
I don't know enough about what it takes to unionize, honestly, to say one way or the other. Yeah, I just don't know enough about it.
They always seem like such long, drawn out, like just really tough, grueling battles.
Right.
Yeah, GDC's coming up soon. Seems like we'll be hearing more about this.
Definitely. You know, that's
time goes on.
You get everyone together, especially the people that are maybe out of work that are now coming to GDC to try to help find what's next.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a stronger focus last year on labor conditions than there ever has been from what I saw. So
right.
Just expect that to continue.
God damn it.
All right, a couple more quick stories. They announced new Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like a full-on...
Yeah, like it was going to be DLC or something.
It's called Hollow Knight Silk Song. You are the princess from the first game. I still need to play that damn game. But yeah, it started as DLC for the first game, but they realized at a certain point it was getting too big for that, so they just decided to make a full sequel. It's awesome that they're making a sequel for people who are super into Hollow Knight.
Totally.
It does look an awful lot like the first one. I mean, it's obviously it's going to, like they say, like 150 new enemies and like totally new character and stuff.
I feel like it's great too because it just came out on Switch recently, so that you got a whole new crop of people who are playing it for the first time, and now they've got a sequel just right around the corner.
Yeah.
But it does kind of look like more of that, so if you bounced off the first one.
Yeah,
I didn't bounce because of that.
I'll play it on Rory's account on UPF.
Smart. Yeah. I think that's the thing I'm not opposed to playing a Hollow Knight game at some point, but I sure didn't much care for the first one. So
if they revamp the map stuff and
obviously
the death
there are
penalty stuff, I would
improvements they
be
could make.
interested in playing a little more.
I don't know, for me...
But also, like, how many of those improvements would, like, eat away at the core of what the first game was? And
they may consider that stuff, like, critical. Like, that punishing aspect of the game might be core to what they want to do.
Yeah, we'll see.
Last thing, because we talked about Starbreeze 2-3 weeks ago, this caught my eye that Other Side, the developers of System Shock 3, have bought the publishing rights for System Shock 3 back from Starbreeze.
Yeah.
And they flat out said, hey, this is because of what's happening at Starbreeze.
Yep. Doesn't make sense for Starbreeze to keep that stuff.
No. Warren Spector is heading up System Shock 3. Like, it seems like they're making a pretty strong push with that thing to make an actual new one. And
and that's the same, the right stuff. That's the Underworld Ascendant studio as well, right?
I believe so. The relationship between Other Side and Night Dive is always so hard for me to keep track of. I believe Other Side is the main developer on all that stuff.
Because Underworld Ascendant
I can't remember
took
what Night Dive
beating.
Yes,
when it came out.
I know they've been updating it.
Yeah, they've been working on it.
Yes. I would still like to check that thing out once they feel like they've got it where they want it to be. Anyway, I guess don't think that System Shock 3 is going to get dragged under along with whatever happens to Starbreeze.
Yeah, they got it out of there before.
Also, this reminded me that Starbreeze is the publisher for Psychonauts 2.
Oh.
Which I totally didn't know.
No idea.
And as of right now, that deal is apparently still in place, but who knows if that will also go away at some point.
Wow.
Anyway.
Maybe they sell those rights to someone else if they need the money fast. I don't know. Or, I don't know.
Yeah. Get Xbox Game Studios in there. Finally publish a Psychonauts game.
Sure.
Close the loop.
Yeah.
On all that. All right. Let's read some more emails before we get out of here. Like maybe 5 of them. Bombcast@bomb.com. Here is one from Grant. Tate is pronounced like tate, which is Japanese for vertical. Incidentally, Yoko is horizontal. This is referring to Tate mode from last week.
Yeah.
Which we
Little Man Tate mode
belatedly figured out was probably Japanese. And in fact, yes, it is tate mode for vertical, switch, and whatever else, just in case you were wondering. An interesting complication for modern gamers and weirdo productivity types is that LCD monitors have their subpixels arranged in vertical stripes. This can break subpixel anti-aliasing, although old games with lower resolutions aren't usually too noticeable. There's a little technical fact for you.
Yeah.
In case you were turning your Switch long ways, tate ways.
Yeah.
I did start doing that because my eyes are going so bad. So what I'll do, I've got the second monitor and it's vertical. So I'll copy text from my left monitor and then drag it over into like a text document on the right, which has the font size increased.
Oh, wow.
It's a nice little productivity tool.
Working for you.
Yeah.
Evan in Seattle. You discussed Home Alone on the opening to this week's podcast. I rewatched Home Alone at some point in the last couple of years and was surprised to realize that the home invasion hijinks / grievous bodily harm sequence that everyone remembers only takes up 10 minutes of the 103-minute runtime. That's really it. Catherine O'Hara probably spends almost that much time in John Candy's Polka Van, but nobody ever talks about that part of the movie.
I think about that part all the time, though.
No question, really, just felt compelled to remark on this.
2 is really where you get a lot more of the trap setup.
Is that where they figured out what works and leaned into it?
Yeah.
I feel people a lot conflate like the traps from 1 and 2, kind of intermingle those two.
I never saw 2.
It makes it feel longer. It's good.
I like 2.
Where is 2 set? Like,
New York.
What's the premise?
He's in Trump's hotel and meets him
right.
there. And
The ultimate trap.
But I mean, how does
He makes him.
how does this happen again?
It's just Macaulay Culkin choking out Russians for 2 hours.
Bad
Well, Culkin
parenting.
finds
That's
the
what
P
happens.
tape.
Okay.
And then there's another old person who's seems scary but is actually nice.
Did they ever make a 3?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Really?
different kid though.
Different
Oh
kid.
no.
Another
No
old person.
No thanks. I'm good.
There was another old person.
Yeah. She was mean, but then the kid was like, "Oh, we're friends now."
Yeah.
The
Help
second
me.
one is a pigeon lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third one was just his neighbor.
Damn it! It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
I only saw that
I
first
never
one
wanted it
once,
to.
so I don't.
Yeah, I think it's
none of it
same.
really stuck with me. I played the Super Nintendo game a lot, though.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Which is better, that
Yes,
or the
yes, there is a Home
Home
Alone 4.
Improvement?
It totally is.
Home Improvement.
Wait,
Home Improvement's legit.
they're all Kevin McAllister? Just
No.
is 3 not?
3
3 is not.
Because 4 is.
What?
Yeah.
With a different kid. Like they cast
What?
another kid as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 4.
That ain't
fucked
right.
up.
You can't do that.
No.
Don't look at me, man. Fuck. They did it. Did they make a 5?
He fights dinosaurs, right? In the
game.
Tool Time game.
Oh yes, yeah.
There was a Home Alone The Holiday Heist in 2012.
Okay.
Still Kevin.
All right, I'm going to stop.
Okay, thank you.
They're just gonna reboot the whole thing as Home Alone again.
I can't look at this anymore.
Still home
Still
alone.
home.
And it's Macaulay Culkin. He orders pizza.
And it says,
Gets Uber Eats.
Siri, call the cops.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's that.
And then the Siri comes on and says, "I'm going to give you to the count of 10 before I fill you full of lead.
Keep-
1, 2, 10."
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
All right,
That's my Siri impression.
it's pretty good.
I have an Android phone.
Should put out a voice pack. Josh from Colorado. With Sony dragging their feet with crossplay and talking about how they don't need crossplay because PlayStation is the best place to play, is Sony poised to repeat the mistakes of the PlayStation 3? Sony was the leader going into the PS3 and was upstaged by Microsoft. Then Microsoft did the same thing Sony did going into the Xbox One. Are these two companies doomed to go back and forth every generation in a battle of ego?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Did you see that Google's got a keynote at GDC?
Yeah, I did see that.
Huh.
So maybe it won't even be either of them.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Maybe they'll be the most powerful company
I can't
in the world.
I can't imagine Google doing anything but streaming at this point, right? Like they're not going to put out a box, are they?
I mean, they put out the Chromecast. That's technically a box.
Well, that just streams though. I mean, like a $100 thing that streams is
Sure.
is one thing, but like
I don't know.
I can't see them making a real console.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What is a real console anymore?
It's tempting. It's tempting to invoke the old like forum trope of arrogant Sony in this conversation. But you know,
Yeah.
Microsoft. I mean, he's not wrong. Microsoft did exactly the same thing. Like, there's definitely a strong track record of whoever's on top
Fucking it up next time
making
around.
a bunch of mistakes out of hubris.
We got video games on lock. Let's do TV now.
Right.
Whoops.
Yeah. We'll see. Garrett from Irvine, California. I read Brad's newsletter this week regarding business travel and food at video game preview events.
Finally, the topics that matter.
Yep. Check out the newsletter.
Yeah, sign up for that newsletter.
It was a fun coincidence that the Anthem event had pretty mediocre food while Apex Legends was much more memorable, earning a respectable A- from me. which sort of tracks with the impressions of the games overall.
How many
Sliders.
stars is that?
They
You
were
can slide downhill in Apex, so
they
you
were-
put sliders to the event.
they were small sand, but I explored that very topic in the newsletter.
Okay,
Is
great.
it a slider if it's not like a patty of some sort?
No.
Yeah.
can have
These were
You can have a fried chicken slider.
these were
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, but
these,
that's in a that's like a chicken in a patty.
these were small slider sized sandwiches, but they were sandwiches. Like there was roast beef. There was one with turkey.
I think if we
Yeah.
think of slider as an umbrella term, then definitely.
Because it
But,
was like turkey on ciabatta,
yeah,
but it was like
it's the spirit.
it was like hockey puck sized.
Yeah, it's
so
the,
I guess
the
that's
spirit of a slider.
spirits.
Anyway, Garrett asks,
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Spirit Slider.
have you found that
Within-
more interesting games tend to have better catering? Are there any events that had particularly memorable food, for better or worse? If you were planning a preview event, how do you think you might cater it?
Sliders,
Sliders are
because it's the funniest, dumbest thing to put there.
yeah.
The first time I ever went to see a game that hadn't been released yet at an event was for ARMS at a fancy hotel a couple miles away. And they had just like this full spread, just fancy cheese, chocolate, just like top of the line shit. And I was just like, all right, video game preview events, like live it up. And then I think the next thing I went to, there was like one old sandwich left. I don't
Nice.
remember what game it was.
It can be.
You know what?
Oh,
I don't remember what game it was.
Wow. Yeah.
So they run the gamut.
Yes, it can be very hit or miss.
I don't remember.
I can't. Nothing jumps out. I
They need
cannot-
to start theming their food a little bit more at these
Yeah,
preview
you might-
events. They just
you
get
might be
the,
right.
the general catering.
No.
They can't
But
though
you
because
know what?
everything's like usually embargoed, and so you can't talk about where you were or what you're doing. So like, why would they want to?
Oh, they
put
don't
the
embargo
effort
the
out.
food.
Yeah.
I remember there being a Disney event back when Disney made video games where a bunch of people got food sick.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh
man.
no!
Like, did you get the fish?
That
Like,
is the last thing you want to happen.
I've seen.
Did they go to Disneyland after they got sick?
no,
Oh.
it was here.
Oh,
It was in this town that we're in now.
okay.
I saw Yoshinori
That shall remain
Ono
nameless.
destroy some chicken wings one time. He goes
Who?
in.
Hmm.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh wow. Okay, I
All
can
right.
see that.
Man, he fucking.
In the spirit of Fei Long.
Damn. Yep.
It used to be chicken on a stick.
Right.
Chicken satay was like the generic or the kind of standby event food, but I think sliders are it now.
I think enough of us idiots complained about sliders that suddenly there were no sliders at events anymore, and then the sliders crept back in.
You've ruined it for us.
Yeah.
Sliders are great because you
Damn
can
it.
justify going back and getting another one
Yeah.
They're so teensy.
because it's small.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to notice?
They should make big sliders.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would. Because why get two
Yeah.
or three if I
Well,
could just
you
get one?
can still get two.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Great.
Let's say this is the last email. This is some email.
All right.
It's from Elliot.
Let's hear it.
As a British guy, I'm appalled to hear someone refer to Nintendo as Ninty and call it very British. Want a British phrase? Stick to wanker. Aside from that, I love what you do. Really enjoyed the face-off against a brute chieftain in Halo 3. You encounter him, he gets his other brute buddies to stand down, and then challenges you in the center of a ring of brutes. Cool mini-boss right there. Super unexpected. Sent from my iPhone.
Okay. We'll add that to the mini boss list on the after show today.
Yeah.
Brute chieftain good, Ninty bad.
Yeah. No, Ninty is definitely something you saw in magazines out of the UK.
Yes, in the 90s.
Like that's
Yeah.
on you, dude.
Yep.
Gov.
Yeah.
Mate.
Oi,
Chap.
pay attention.
Yeah.
Put it in the boot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's it for emails. Unless
Sure.
you want to read another one.
I don't have any.
That's it for
I don't.
Yeah.
you know what? Let's do one more.
Let's do one
Whoa.
more.
Whoa.
I love it.
One
I
more.
like, actually, this one's.
One more.
I
game.
want to read this.
Okay.
Josh from Niles, Michigan.
Yeah.
With the forthcoming, at the time of this writing, release of Far Cry New Dawn, information has come out that the game features a side mission involving elements from Splinter Cell Blacklist. I think there's footage. There has since been footage of this starting to make the rounds. In this expedition, as these missions are referred to in game, you travel to the wreckage of a government plane to recover some items before they are taken by raiders. This takes you to a small self-contained level to complete this task. In this level, if you ignore the main objective and search your surrounding area, you can come across the Paladin, the Mobile Operations Center plane for 4th Echelon. In it, you find notes about a man preparing to travel to find his daughter Sarah after the nuclear apocalypse, as well as mentioning many other Splinter Cell characters by name, such as Grim, Vic, Cole, Briggs, and Coben.
Damn.
Everyone loves Grim, Vic, Biggs, Cole, and Coben.
Yes. All characters who would have been on the Paladin at the time the nuke dropped. These notes are signed SF. Also, you can find Sam's suit.
San Francisco. Yep. They're going to do a Far Cry in San Francisco?
Whoa.
It's right there in plain text.
Also, you can find Sam's suit and goggles in the plane to equip on your character. My question to you is this another breadcrumb in the long is Ubisoft making another Splinter Cell game trail, or simply another Easter egg?
I think it's just an accident.
Whoops.
Totally.
Yeah, they came up with that all.
They keep accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew the stuff was in there.
We
So
might be reading into it too
I think you
much.
can see the outfit like locked
Oh,
on a
interesting.
screen, and it
Okay.
says like "Get this in Expeditions."
Okay.
I think that's in there, but so I think I knew about that, but not the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's just an Easter egg.
Yeah.
You could take it either way. Like
After
I do think eventually they will get around to making another Splinter Cell.
Think
But
so?
I don't know that they'll even follow on from that specific Splinter Cell story at this point.
Probably
So,
not. It's more just like, hey, they keep doing this. Does this actually mean anything? Like the Wildlands thing, I mean, they actually went and got Michael
Yeah,
Ironside. Like, you
right.
were like, okay, this might actually be happening. But
Yeah.
then also he says, P.S. At the end of the Splinter Cell event in Ghost Recon Wildlands, Sam has to leave to attend to another emergency involving, quote, empty quiver. This is military code for the theft of functioning nuclear weapons.
I thought that was a broken arrow.
Yeah.
Far Cry 5 ends with the nuclear apocalypse. Are all Ubisoft games set in the same universe?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Definitive answer.
Trials is happening somewhere in that universe right now.
Yes. also involving nuclear bombs.
Yep.
And the rapids are there.
Mhm.
Yep.
Damn it.
Yep.
Mario.
It's a big old party.
Laser tag.
All right, that's it for emails.
Mr. Caffeine.
Send them to bombcast@giantbomb.com.
Zombie you.
All right. I guess that's the end of another marathon podcast session.
That's right.
Oh, Brad, it doesn't end here.
My throat
That's
is
right.
dry.
It does not. The after show coming up right after this.
Continue talking.
Yeah, we'll continue talking.
We need a
microphones.
sandwich
We'll take
first,
your calls
Is
about mini bosses.
Is it a
and
small sandwich?
No, it's like a big slider.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's
Interesting.
novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That sounds good.
Ham and brie.
Ooh, should look into that. All right.
Brie.
Yep. Stay tuned for the after show if you're watching live. If you're not, it'll be on the website.
Yeah.
Or you subscribe to it if you haven't.
Yeah.
And give us 6 stars.
Do
That's
that.
right. 6 stars.
And then eat some
Draw
tiny-
one on your screen next to the 5th one.
And then let's all eat some tiny sandwiches.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Hey, this is Colt Cabana. I've been wrestling on the independent wrestling scene for the past 20 years. From the gathering of the Juggalos to the border towns in Mexico. My podcast is The Art of Wrestling, and each week I document my adventures.
We're in Wingchow, which is about an hour outside of Shanghai by flight.
So the sumo hall, the whole bottom is like where they watch sumo wrestling. The ring is in the middle, so there's chairs there, and then there's a whole top tier too, right? Yeah.
I'm coming up on 18 years of independent professional wrestling and nothing but. And to see it get to this level, I've gotten goosebumps like 3 times during this show.
As a guy who had a snake his whole career, do you feel akin to like the animals here and stuff?
Just the freak show part of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're on a boat in the middle of nowhere, and this thing came flapping in, and it was like in slow motion.
It just crashed. It crashed into the front row. Hear a new documentary every week about the weird world of pro wrestling, The Art of Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts or ColtCabana.com.